is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. To get champions, we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting high, I wonder when it all goes now, comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We get champions.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs. I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Happy Friday again.
All right.
Happy Friday to those in television land. Happy Friday to our silent supporters. Happy Friday to everyone in the chat. As usual, thank you so much for your continued support. Really appreciate each and every one. Remember, guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing. That will be greatly appreciated. Tonight's topic is Two-Tongue Andrew.
All right.
With your host, Mystic Sensation, which is Baron and Anne-Marie, and Melting Pot will be joining us in a few minutes. Let me just go ahead and welcome those in the chat. Anthony R., Falmouth Girl 2, Carla Ebanks, Doris McCoy, Rennie Swaby, John Gotti, Louis Longshaw, Ariel Dama, Mintiru Patel Cruikshank, Marinda Ruddock, Jonathan Johns, Carla Ebanks, Clarkey, Rosalie Ricketts, Ludell Brown, welcome. Thank you again for tuning in. And remember, guys, to keep those on the western end of the island in our thoughts and in our prayers, because the struggle is real. So continue to pray for them. Continue to keep them in your thoughts. Beverly Grant, welcome. Bless up yourself. Angela Thumbs, bless up yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. With the way in which the chat looks now, sometimes it's hard to see the letters. I have to start reading the glasses for this too.
All right.
Without any delay, over to you, Baron. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you, wifey, for that. Tonight, my peeps, of course, my wonderful ardent listeners, right, in the diaspora and locally. Tonight, what we are going to do, we are going to be ride and whistle. And what I mean by that, we are going to touch as it relates to areas in ground zero. We are going to touch on some serious cases as it relates to the judiciary, right? And because you know that I am someone who always defend the judiciary, because I do believe that we have a solid jurisprudence, and I'm going to show you tonight, right, where it is working, right? And we know that people out there, they might be showing a smile face, a smiling face, but we know that they are worrying. Big up yourself, Legris, right? Beckford, right? Legris always ensure that him tell the people them to like up the live, and I love that blessing, Legris, right? People remember, do like up the live, and of course send it out. You know the thing go, because we want to really reach as many people. But Melting Pot will be coming in shortly, so we're happy for that, right? But we are going to touch some serious topics tonight, right? And some of the topics that we are going to touch on, yes, we know that some member of parliament, based on what transpired, let me see, based on what transpired, roughly about, call it, a couple days or partially a week ago, right? A lot of them, right, are what we call worrying, because they know that judgment is near. And we are going to prove that, where that is concerned. So we'll be speaking about Andrew French, right? Of course, people, the guy there who rub up, you understand, the millions, and believe that he had gotten away. Yeah, we are going to touch him, right? Of course, we are going to touch Rural Reid. Yes, we're going to touch that, right? And we are going to touch, right, on, of course, none other than Darrell Valls, because I can say Darrell Valls can talk all the talk what he wants to talk and believe that he's powerful and mighty and he's untouchable. But trust me, Darrell Valls, you got that one wrong. Trust me, I can assure you, you'll have this wrong. All right, so without any further delay, let us just touch on some of the memory on Ground Zero. I realize that we have a new update as it relates to Ground Zero. Ground Zero as it is, 2 days, right? We have a well-known journalist went in and, right, touch tune with some of the people, how are they feeling and, what's the situation with them. So we are going to share the vibes there before we start get into the rigidness of our program. So we could just tune in on Ground Zero for a bit and then we start the program. All right? Yes.
The signs bleak for Black River and its environs Thursday. Ripped up roads narrowly passable and crisscrossed with twisted power cables. Even the leaves gone in this mangled wasteland.
Yes, devastated. Mash up, bad.
Folks leaving town with what they could salvage.
None at all. Believe me, I tell you, all 3 years can't come back.
Melissa's impact felt by all, and despair already setting in.
Is that we relocate or we rebuild? And I don't know how because we have to start from scratch, and trust me, if you have kids to go to school and all of the above, it's really rough for everybody. Everybody. I mean, I say, hit one person, if you say, oh, your roof on, everybody roof gone. There's no pointing our fingers if you say, oh, I was good. No, everybody get hit.
This man, a mechanic in town. The wind took his roof, but water surging in from the sea, sealing his misery.
Water start push out the wall and bust the wall. Then the 2 vehicles, all 3 vehicles start float. It's all our water. So basically we're down the beach, and trust me, if you look at the beach right now, you couldn't believe say at the same beach that do all of this. Pretty and nice, all the baby can go swim in it now.
Surprised he could still smile. Them too, given the awful stats.
Maybe 5% of rooftops are still standing. Everybody else is gone. This is a real disaster.
Finally, in Black River itself. Where to start? The mud. The stench, the desolation.
And I can just see how the place look better. Eh? I don't even want to give you a conversation right now, dog. Just look on the place.
Imagine the force that did this.
Good afternoon, my name is Tiffany McDonald. I live in Vineyard, my house blow down, I don't live anywhere. People yard me catch me, have a 5-year-old, I need help. Help a Black River, me come and look food.
I'm heartbroken when I came to Black River on the bridge. I burst out in tears, cried straight to the hospital.
Stories of desperation, but also of resilience.
Eventually the breeze blew my window off and I said to my grandson, come, let's take the mattress off the divan. And I put the divan on my window, and I take the dresser and I brace it. And when I looked, another window was getting out. And I said, come, let's put the wall rope there. And we put the wall rope there and we brace it. If not, my 2 windows would come out, but thank God I have life today.
Many others just dazed and confused. Some belongings saved. Memory of trauma very much fresh.
I never see hurricane tear up wall, concrete wall. Like when you would look and see what happened in Haiti, it's like Haiti come Jamaica right now. Believe me, if I get the opportunity and hear that another one coming, and I have the opportunity to leave Jamaica, I would leave Jamaica. I wouldn't like experience this anymore.
Food and water in short supply Thursday. Not much of anything getting in. Sourcing sustenance for others not able to make it the mission of this man.
When the youth them there get us some food and things for youth them and for all people that we can't come out of the district, you know. And for family them and loved one them. But we need help seeing we can all more things are gonna need because we can't even get them in our community. We have to go walk and try to cut some road and get donkey and them things to carry up there. So we're gonna need some whole heap of help up in the Haddisland district there. If the road even clean, no vehicle can go up there. Not even tractor. I'm born and grow and I hear people that talk about 51. This and that, Gilbert, everybody, Ivan, everybody. These are the wickedest thing we ever see. Everything, our concrete house blow down.
I see no store, no supermarket, nothing open back in Black River. I get this goods from a police officer who was holding a door and they said like they give him permission to give away this stuff. So he give me this stuff.
Some encounters bordering on the bizarre.
This storm help the people.
Explain.
The food, look here. Look here. Look at food that I've got. Look here. Look in my hair how much food I've got. When the storm never come, they wouldn't got this, and they're so hungry in this country. The people in this country is so hungry. So this storm is so good for the people. Make it mash up the place.
We saw people lugging crates and plastic bags filled with goods.
But at the supermarket, them man, because I don't know, the supermarket them cheap, so any local food and thing. You understand? We're up on the hunting. I tell you, say place, grind up.
I told her, well, super place, me go find it, see? We can't find the little ball and see me still a few years because we can do better. I will see from my chips I've been eating.
This shop still in the process of being cleaned out. Perhaps desperation rather than intentional looting. But someone set to pick up the cost.
Looting and, stuff like that. So that's the situation we're in.
St. John's Anglican Church, a landmark. Not much left. This lady from nearby Crawford.
Mr. Green, per liter, we are asking for your help in Crawford. No strand of leave and turn down there at least you're supposed to see. You're supposed to see. Right? Because we know the Prime Minister fly over our head, but you're supposed to hear. We need you down there. We need you down there. All that body down there.
He hails from Parity.
The sea come in my house and catch me right here. I have to put on my life jacket to save my life. You have house, wall house. The sea take it and gone. Not even the spot you can't even see where it was.
And no time to be sick in Black River.
the hospital. If anyone's sick right now, the hospital cannot help. Black River Hospital, roof gone, everything in disarray.
I came out here to help, but I can't help. I have to go.
And it's time to a port.
This fisherman was out at sea and managed to escape to Honduras before returning with his catch.
So we have them on the boat right now for selling. So who we gonna sell them to in this moment, bro? No dinero. Malo. God, the whole place in disaster.
Cars and trucks tossed around like toys during the hurricane, not to mention board and zinc homes. Where do these people go now?
We sleep in the boats.
Shelter at a premium in Black River.
Everyone is trying to help themselves at the moment, but still waiting on the major help.
Boy, what we are seeing, the devastation, the sadness. The truth be told, I don't think there are any words to describe that situation. It is unimaginable. And in spite of that, the reason for me to go back there and show that you just couldn't, for a normal person, someone with heart, could no way, shape, or form find any moment to play politics with people's life. This is a moment where you have to recognize that, listen, we have to come together to save life. No time for politics. People are saying that even up until now, right? Helicopters are flying overhead, right? But they still in short of supplies, in spite of the tons upon tons, the tons of aids, the tons of relief, right? Insurance money. And I was so appalled as it relates to Dana Morris at her press conference, saying that in spite of all the money that the government had gotten, they have not spent anything as yet. And they are still dealing with plans to have an understanding as how it's supposed to be spent. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, Jamaican people? That's what Dana Morris Dixon, that's what she said. Having all these donations, insurance money, and that is what Dana Morris Dixon is saying, that the government has not been spending any of that as yet, because they need to strategize on a plan as how to spend it. Now, Melting Pot, when you see situations like this, what is your input on it, my brother?
Yeah, first I must, take the pleasure into acknowledging everyone tonight in the studio with us. We are all here sharing the same vision and thought as it relates to what we see is happening in Jamaica. And what is happening in Jamaica, is something that is not fit for human consumption. Now, the video that you just played a while ago, Sir Byron, that video that revealed the revelation of the ordeal where the people them undergo during the passage of Hurricane Melissa. And as such, the explanation was in all different aspects. But the one common solution to everyone's explanation was assistance from the government. And we're talking about swift, urgent assistance. Because the people at that point in time were left with no other choice but to get help wherever the source of help was coming from. But we know for sure that the government of Jamaica must be the first one to respond to the people and help. And, any other outside source is a bonus. But to me, it seemed like the government, knowing the full protocol when something like this happening in the region, that, foreign country always come to the help and assistance of the government. And to me, it looked like them purposely delay everything on their behalf, waiting for the response of overseas government. Because, that could be the only, reasonable source you could have come with. Where say, well then, what caused the government to be so lethargic? The government response was lethargic. The Jamaica Defense Force was non-existent. Even the JCF. So we have to look on things as it presents itself, And what we see is a government that went into panic mode, or a government that decide, well, we're gonna use a strategy, yeah, to access a lot of help from outside source. So the government play a game like say, well, them not have nothing. But yet still the Prime Minister in an interview, yeah, with CNN reporter, stated that he was, ready and everything was in place. And, it went as far as even stating that within a week and a half to 2 weeks, the country should be upward mobile again. So I expected a more swifter response from the government based on what he said in his initial, press briefing with CNN journalists. But to my dismay, Andrew was way behind the 8 ball. Where the government is concerned, it's as if they were taken aback by what they were experiencing and the freeze are gone into some panic mode. The response was lacking, and so the people continue, even up until now, to be in a state of suffering, needing help. People still are not getting any help towards rehabilitation of them life because the government find it, a place of comfort to delay the help, even when the help is on the ground in Jamaica. And we're talking about help of, both farmer commodities, food stuff, and finance, and also other, immediate needs like, bedding and all these things, generator, a lot of things in the country for the people. So we are asking the government, why the delay tactics in getting these resources to the people. Because the people were the primary objective for these goods and service to come into the country. And so the people must be the beneficiary. But to me, it looked like the government have some farmer skullduggery plan in place and them delay the process, and even when them do come out with it, them play politics. You understand? Because we should see convoy of trucks going into these regions, distributing all these stuff that come into the country. Come for the people, in other words, affected area. Because not the entire country get hit by Hurricane Melissa, to the extent where we want the type of relief program for the people. It's just the people not the eye of the hurricane passage. They're mostly affected. But even just to take into consideration offer that was put on the table for the member of parliament in the worst affected area, 10 million Jamaican dollar. And we have to highlight the fact that we have signed with them erect, we cost 17 million, and the next one cost 12 million. Them put Mike in a parliament for 18 million. But the entire community, yeah, must work off for 10 million. So me I look on the government as a hypocritical government. Because this government promised the Jamaican people and prosperity, you know. Yeah, and them say poor man must have them castle and all these type of narrative. But when it come to crunch time, the guy hide behind the 8 ball because this guy now have no love for the people of Jamaica and I keep saying it to the people. Andrew Wallace will not have a care. So no don't look for no care package. It's only a caring person will give you a care package, you know. But in the case of Andrew Wallace and him administration, does they really care? No. Because for more than a decade, and you can show a semblance of growth in your country for your people. Then you don't care because long time now they ask bolt and gone through the gate. So Andrew can't catch it back. So Jamaican people don't have to know say there's nothing forthcoming from Andrew Wallace administration, you know. Nothing after 10 years, not do nothing. Don't think say I'm going to do it now. Yeah. Where Andrew is at right now, him don't know whether to stick or twist. There's so much weighing down this man's mind. Him can't govern the country. There's so much problem mounting up on Andrew Wallace, it's unbelievable. So a man with a heavy head cannot have a steady head. He made there all over the place. Remember, I have court yet on the 8th of December. I have the next one with the Integrity Commission. He have so much thing away him down. Plus, you know, him have to fall in line every time US call on him. And then him have deprive him friend them. I will him promise them the Chinese because, you know, him can't keep two of them at one time, you know. I have to choose one. So one of them right now, I look upon him as a hypocrite. And the next one, I look upon him as a puppet. So the situation where Andrew Wallace find himself in a right now, it's not good for the leadership of the country. It's not good for the keep a country in a high moral. Because him low on moral, you know. And if I'm the leader and him low on moral, then the people in the country are going to have the same form of feelings. There's nothing happening in Jamaica right now. Jamaica is just like a, you know, a war zone that, you know, just, you know, get released as it relates to a ceasefire and you look on the damage. Look like Gaza. So we have to ask the question, man. Yeah, Andrew Wallace, you need to have dialogue with the People's National Party. You need to say eye to eye with Mark Jefferson Golden and come up with a formulated plan to how to respond to the people. Yeah? Because right now we are seeing an unbalanced farmer response. Certain places I get everything and some places now get nothing. Yeah? Listening to Ian Hills earlier on. There are places that only get one visit as it relates to aid package. Them not get nothing more. And a 5 week now since the hurricane. Then one aid package can last for that long. And when I listen to Alvin Gale from ADPEM, him say one of the package them last 4 days for a family of 4. Not even a week. So this situation where we are look on, it's not right, it's wrong in all sense. Because remember, you know, people send them things come at Jamaica right now, regret, you know, based on your action. The people them were sending the cargo shipment them coming at Jamaica. Them not in a good mood right now because them are hear the cry of the people same way. It's like not change. Because around your section, you know, everybody alright, so you know, go hear no voice from around this, you know. Because them well contented. But the people them where you are victimized and marginalize them through political, you know, affiliation. Them people are cry out and I take to social media. So The world I look and I say, then hold on. We send so much aid go give this government here. The all island get this type of damage where we need this amount of aid. But we send it go give him. We send finance go give him. And we are here the people them a cry same way. So them not get no attention. And you want to see how to do better, man. I'm want to if nobody from round you can have a heart and say to you, say, yeah, we have no leader. We can't run it down that way here. We have to make a U-turn now and go meet the people. Yeah? We can't turn back on the people, but them people make the thing them come in. I don't have them place there, the international world did I see, and see the damage where Jamaica undergo from Hurricane Melissa. And so the people them use them region there and send the support come. So you neglect the region. You can't neglect the region, ground zero. You can't disrespect the member of parliament, them and represent them people. You have to work with them to make the thing better. You have to work with them so people can feel the support that was sent for them, get it in and around them community, and everybody have feel a joy now, and I get a different mood. You understand? The people are moral down because you keep it down. From the 28th of October, yeah, this thing passed through. And now we're almost at the ending of November. And you can't get it right, then when you get it right, you have to wake up out of your slumber, man, and wake up out of your little evil way and your evil thought, man. You have to start show, say, you know, if I have one day in your life, you have to show some care for the people where you say you're a leader for. The people where you promise so much thing. The people where you trick, lie, and con to. Show them some form of father figure, man. Yeah? It can't be that you just father for your two sons alone, you know, but then you want to lead a nation. When a man is put in charge of leading a nation, that individual becomes a father figure. And you say, you're the best baby father. Be the best father now. God, for the adult and the baby, them and the elder. Be an all-round father. You say you know about fiscal discipline and all these things, then use the resource, man. What if money you get and what if goods, you know? It's the same thing like angling finance. Know if you distribute it. Yeah? Know which part you send it go. Have accountability and checks and balance. Yeah? But you just deal with the thing in a wrong formula from day one. And that's why me I talk to some, you know, society group in a Jamaica. Who not play hypocrite to, you know, and about this prime minister here, you know. Jamaica for justice. Me know no must see and recognize and hear of the injustice. Down on social media, you know. Umbrella group of churches. Where is that love that's supposed to be inside of you people who preach the word of God? Yeah? Have you not all seen the suffering of the Jamaican people in terms of not having anything from what they possessed before Hurricane Melissa hit them? So you're talking about suffering of all description, you know. Not just food and water and shelter, you know, but mental suffering as well. Yeah? I know a lot of Jamaican need counseling right now. They need therapy. But we don't see the health and wellness minister, tough tongue, yeah, have something of that sort in place. So they need some counsel to talk to these people. Because these people have gone through traumatic ordeal. Watch everything around them just disappear. Losing family member, suffering from, you know, grief of loved one and all these things. If they're animal that they love, that they care for, that they were growing, that they saw drown. There's a lot of trauma right now in this region, so it's not just about getting to the people and food and water and shelter, you know. They also need the Minister of Health and Wellness to participate in the restoration of the people, their mental faculty. So a lot of things is, just not looking good on the ground in Jamaica. And this just showed incompetence of all of these ministers who are highly paid by taxpayers. The Prime Minister, shamble. The Minister of Health and Wellness, shamble, sub-zero. Local government, shamble, sub-zero. Yeah. Minister of Utility, yeah, which fall under Pumbas, can deal with energy. Shamble, shamble, with category 5 lies. And so, everything is just in a shamble. So we are called upon the people in Jamaica at time when you start to acknowledge what is happening around on a daily basis. Yeah? A nation that don't have no love for each other is that nation that is in division. Out of many one people is the Jamaica motto. And we must embrace that as a symbol of our identity that our foreparents fought for. Yeah? To free us from colonial slavery. We must embrace such a privilege. We must not allow a single-minded individual who is evil to the core, to come and disintegrate our society to the extent where we are so disjointed and there is no unity amongst us, where we can't come together as one common people in an island to house this wicked, evil Prime Minister from the House of Representatives and from the landscape of Jamaica politics. And I yield back the floor to you, my brother.
All right. Thank you for that melting pot, right? Putting all your emotions there. But there's a fundamental reason as to why, I showed that clip that done Thursday, right? Where that journalist went in and touch base with those people as it relates to, just a day ago, right? It's really sad. But just let me say this. The prolong of the Prime Minister tardiness tantamount to what I would call a humanitarian crisis as it relates to, one, not wanting to work with the opposition, right? And his deliberate action in terms of avoiding, right, a collaborative effort, telling me that actions like that, right, is a deliberate act in suffering the people. It couldn't be no other reason. And I'm going to show the evidence why I believe it's a deliberate act in suffering the people. Why am I come to that conclusion? One, the Prime Minister administration, right, based on what Dana Morrison had now told Jamaicans, home and abroad, that donations being received, right, cash donations being received by the government, right, has not been spent as yet. You're talking about a month after Hurricane Melissa. And as it relates to immediately after Hurricane Melissa passed, the Prime Minister administration being receiving donations, being receiving aids upon top of aids. And a month away, Dana Morris, the Minister of Information, right? And education too. And education, right, is coming out to say that the government has not spent any of that as yet. It is telling me that it is a deliberate action to suffer the Jamaican people. So I am not going to find the time or of any time in playing to Andrew Ones to have any mercy. I would be speaking to a reptile, a cold-blooded animal. Right? We are not speaking to a mammal. We are not speaking to a warm-blooded creature that has the ability to care for a loved one. He is a living reptile. So I don't have no time, you understand, to plead to him. And as a matter of fact, right, what I want to ensure that he's put into the judiciary. This is where I'm coming from. Yes, blunt and serious. Let me show you how deliberate the Prime Minister is. So the Prime Minister administration delay of spending the much needed resources that came from Dana Morris. Mount, she can't pull it back. But the Prime Minister administration has no hesitation to bail out JPS. Now tell me where it is good. Now let us argue that. The Prime Minister is delaying, right, donations to the people, and in some instances marginalizing some people. And the Prime Minister is not showing any form of prudency in terms to understand the process with JPS. An evaluation needs to be done and done effectively with good common sense. But the Prime Minister administration expedite the process to bail out JPS. Let me show you again another thing to show you that the Prime Minister action is deliberate in suffering the people. Because it cannot be delaying funding to the people based on what Dana Morris said. And you cannot, vice versa, you are now expediting, right, to bail out JPS, a crony capitalist. Let me speak it in. What a lot of people not speaking, but let me come straight. Willing, expediting the process to bail out an institution that manipulate the Jamaican poor people for years as it relates to high energy bill. Let me take off this because I am getting eaten. Yes. I will come out for them tonight. You know, people over here so they get cold, you know. You have to understand, say I'm in the ice box. This is Canada, particularly Alberta, very cold. All right. So now that my light up a bit, right? Let me put that over here. So, how is it that the Prime Minister delaying donations to get to the people and to, you know, reconstruct? But no, what you have done, it appears also that you have used, right, the Hurricane Fund to give to JPS, to bail out JPS, right? That have been manipulating the people with high electricity bill. Another step that you have moved, that you have made, show me, definitely told me that yes, you are deliberate in suffering the people. Is when you've flown over the area, you look and you see the deluge. But in your hearts of hearts, you smile. Remember, I told you that you have no heart in it. Yes. You smile deep down because you love to see the suffrage of the people. And after you have seen what you saw, you went into parliament to show you that you're a crocodile. And you said they deserve $10 million per constituency that is affected. And the cat ban money, you took it and you gave it. You gave it to one of your vulture capitalists. You gave it to a vulture capitalist that don't even want it. Are you telling me that you care for Jamaican people? But for them and those who voted for you, right? Time is coming. Time is coming. Now, let me show Jamaica people that all is not lost. And I believe that we are resilient. Now, we are not talking about the government. The government is not helping nobody. Let me tell you something, Jamaica. If we did not have our wonderful entertainers and wonderful Samaritans and wonderful people who decided to put out their arts and arts and decided that, okay, all right, I'm going to help my people. Nothing is coming from the government in terms of help. So I don't know when did they boast and I talk about if the government never this and the government never that. You have done nothing, Andrew Holness. And based on what you have done, you can just keep where you are at. We are going to help our people. Our people are resilient, not by you. Right? We need to send you where you deserve to be. Plain and simple. So, don't prepare for us. We can guarantee you that. Prepare for the place where we want to send you. When I look and see how my people are suffering, it is not like you don't have the aid. You get tons of aids. Right? You have millions in cash that you got for the people, not for you. But you take it and you give a vulture capitalist like JPS. Right? That is what you take the people cat ban money and do. Right? Now, let me show you, Andrew Holness, you and your administration will tell you that one by one, they are going to jail. People, trust me. People want to trust me, Want to trust me. When I say, my Jamaican people, have faith in the judiciary. When they go into the judiciary, it's game over. Without any delay, let us show the document. When I say, have faith, my people, judgment is coming. Right? Judgment is coming. And so then we are going to show the people that, of course, judgment is coming. Now, people, I am happy. Look at this criminal here. Want to see him face there? Andrew French Wright gets more than 10 years for in-sport fraud. November 21, 2025. They say one by one, who know go to jail. Look on him face, people. Look on him. Look on him, people. Believe you can trick the people. You believe you're Andrew Holness. can trick the people, right? And live on the back of the people. You never know, say this day going to come. We say to you one by one, you are going to jail. Now we can read it, people. Kingston, Jamaica, Andrew Wright, one of 3 men found guilty of defrauding the Institute of Sports of hundreds of millions of dollars, has been sentenced to 10 years and 7 months in prison at hard labor. The only thing me sad about, an additional 40 should have go upon that. Wright was sentenced at the Supreme Court on Friday after a guilty verdict was handed down to him and his co-accused O'Neill Hope and Rodolph Barnes on September 30th. I think we are wrong with you. We're telling you, you know. When we catch you in the judiciary, you know. Rural Reid, you stand up, you know. Because you're next in line, you know. You line up yourself in a Rural Reid. Now, the men were charged following an investigation dating back to 2017 after Andrew Holness took over, which found 222 million to have been defrauded from the government agency. And think, we say one by one, I'm not going to jail. We just want the people knowing. One by one, you're going to jail, my brother. One by one. So let's just take it away. So me say, people, no fuss on yourself, man. No worry on yourself. Justice the right on the corner. You know. All I see some of them a jump up and a go on the parliament and a put on smile. Yeah, man, them a put on smile. You understand? Every smile, every inch of that smile created by them in terms of so difficult to do. But they are putting on their best in making that smile. Them are under pressure, people. Pressure. Now, let us go to the next one. So 10 years for him. Coming up here. Now I'm going to show the people what they're going with the next. And tell him to line up himself. Right? Let us show the people that when we talk about the criminal justice system, I am telling the people to just have some confidence, man. have some confidence to think them get right. No, people, them get right. Just a matter of time, you know. Them can talk up them mouth outside of the judiciary, you know. When them go in there, you know, you understand, them have to walk straight and hold them chest high and wait for them prosecution. Prosecutors outlined damning allegation against Rural Reid and company. Amount alleged flees from the MOE and the CMU not put at more than 25 mil. Right? Now let us get into it. Former Minister of Education, Rural Reid, and his co-accused pleaded not guilty. You can plead all in not guilty where you want to plead. We have the evidence. Plead all in not guilty where you want to plead. We have the evidence. To an exhaustive list of charges on Monday, as the Crown outlined allegations, including that Reid and his family members instructed a domestic worker to set up an account in which millions were deposited by control the corresponding ATM card. And remember, I read at 28 account you set up, you know, just like Andrew Holness, you know. So I want to ask you something, Rural Reid. Are you come up with a 28 account or Andrew Holness? Me want to know if you come up, because remember, I know, Rural Reid. Remember that you have been advising Andrew Holness. You were Andrew Holness' advisor. So is it coincident that you set up 28 account and Andrew Holness set up 28 account? Are you advising him? You are his advisor.
Or it could be the monkey man.
Let me get into it. Crown prosecutor told the court that between March 2016 and October 2019, the 5 accused Reid, his wife Sharon Reid, who was employed to the Caribbean Maritime University as manager of legal affairs, their daughter Cheryl Reed, Councillor Kim Brown Lawrence, Councillor Kim Brown set up herself, line up herself. As much of them that go to the JLP one time, one stone, kill much bird. And former president of CMU, Fitz Pinnock, participated in a scheme with other unknowns, which siphoned off a revised figure of more than 25 million from both the Ministry of Education and CMU. Mighty goodness, me tell the people them. Just imagine them a big old dirty what this money, as I say, honey. They rob the pitney them of them milk. They rob the little pitney them milk powder. Eh? Let me tell you something you will read. You just say you're worthless. Think of what you do, you will read. Eh? You just say you're Andrew Owens, worthless. I'm not saying the two are worthless. If you can rob the pitney them milk powder, and I rob the baby them palm breast. This is the reason why you respond as it relates to dealing with these people in Ground Zero and the Hurricane Pathway. This is the reason why you have no conscience. You understand? Robbing the baby breast milk. This is the heights of worthlessness. No, well, I'm not shame on yourself. Now, it is alleged that this money was funneled through transfers to various accounts, either owned or controlled by the accused or handed over in cash, with the recipients either knowing or reasonable should have known. It was criminal property resulting in charges of acquisition of criminal property. Prosecutors allege that there were fraudulent payments made for work that was never done. Want to see how them keep the money? People, let me ask you. So when we talk about 3 trillion missing in a procurement, want to see the methodology? Pay people money for work not being done and make sure, say, no invoices or no purchase order being established. Want to see why $3 trillion unaccounted for? Let me show you why $3 trillion unaccounted for. See, try to say, prosecutor allege that there were fraudulent payments made for work that was never done or services which were never provided to either the Ministry of University. Want to remember, people, let me tell you one little secret. Want to remember, say Keisha Mack at the St. James Municipal have done the same thing. Pay money to him friend. You understand? And no work not done. Keisha Mack had done this. Pay millions of dollars to him friend and no work not done. You see how $3 trillion unaccounted for? So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question again. Right? Flavor Williams. The appropriation accounts. Right? Not submitted yet. And if the appropriation account submitted, let me ask you a question. What did those appropriation accounts tell you? Did they bring down the variances? Why you can't come out and talk? Or should we take it that the $3 trillion still unaccounted for? It's unaccounted for through these processes of criminality. All right. And that money from these payments was transferred from CMU and MOE to the accused through either third parties or to bank accounts held or controlled by the accused. And people may go show another thing at 28 at the name of it. So then, let me ask a question. Then if Rural Read set up 28 account and a funnel money through them, you know think say him who advised Andrew Owens. You know think say the same thing Andrew Owens had done. So when Andrew Owens had given contract to Gavin and pay Gavin millions of dollars, you know see what happened around us? You know see why the $3 trillion unaccounted for. Hey people, all right, I'm think we are idiot. All right. Pinocchio and Reed are accused of using their roles as public servants to mastermind. To mastermind, like who? Andrew Holness. And effect a scheme in which individuals were being paid on a regular basis by CMU. Mastermind. As it relates to scheme that Andrew Holness involved in. Cash Plus, Orient, SSL. Me only take the actions, Me only take the actions. Without knowledge that they were being paid and in which invoices for goods and services were generated, but not by the individuals being paid, who did not at any time provide the stated services of goods to CMU, resulting in charges of conspiracy toward the fraud. Yes. A reflection of that. Andrew Holness, when you join Cash Plus, and you get the first money out of Cash Plus, and investors ball. The investors then ball rape. The money gone. And you know, say, the investors lose their money. You never stop there. You jump down and hold it. And you run another rip-off. You never stop there neither. You run Ghana SSL. And you run another rip-off. The two are also charged with acts of corruption under Section 15 of the Corruption Act. Pinnock for allegedly facilitating the payment of monies from CMU by authorizing fraudulent vouchers, and Reed in his capacity as a minister for causing money to be paid out from the MOE and CMU for work, goods and services not provided. Take that away, honey. Take that away. Now, come to the come in front of the class. This time, Adley Sean on the manor yard. Adley Sean, Dibby. You are the original manor yard. Step up, manor yard. Come talk to me about this. Now, Darrell Vaz, you are the manor yard. I don't know why them call. Yes. Come in, manor yard. You are the original manor yard. I have to take a sip of the wine because I don't drink rum. Wine this. Right? So let me take a good sip of the Casco fruit wine before me do the one here. All right. Chest feel good. You come Darrell Vaz. Let me show the people your trickery. You think you get right now. You come out and lobber off your mouth. That's why I boss out your business. Make the people them know say you manage the account them in a SSL for GLP. That's why I dash out your business, you know. Because you go on like you run things and you want to bad up everybody. But you come here now. Let me deal with your business now. Now, this is a reply. All right. May 27, 2025, from the Trade Board Limited, Jamaica Trade Board, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. All right. May 27, 2025. I can read now, people. Hey, we are going at this, you know. Because all of this document are going to quote, you know. Honorable Darrell Vaz, Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunication and Transport. Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunication and Transport, PCJ Building 36, Trafalgar Road, Kingston 10. And it reads, Dear Minister Vaz, subheading, re-permission to import 110 new buses. May I show the people, let me know, say, a new buses You say new buses are set because you want to trick the people. You didn't speak of old buses, I'm going to show you the letter. You did not speak of old buses. You know when you change this? Is when me and Lonesome are melting pot. They hit you, When me, Lonesome are melting pot, they hit you. You go back and change it to 110 old buses, You remember that? May I show you the letter, You can't escape this, Darrell Vaz. Right? You can't escape this, This is what you're sending, In terms of you getting the $1.4 billion, May I show the people, This is what you send. This is the correspondence. Now, this letter serves to confirm receipt of your correspondence dated May 20, 2025 regarding the caption matter 110 new buses. Additionally, approval has been granted to Elijah to import 110 buses on behalf of the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications, and Transport for the Rural School Bus Transportation Program. You can't hide from this in a Darrell Vaz. 110 new bus. You change this when me, Melting Pot and Lonesome start to beat you upon this. You come back out. You come back out a couple days later and change it. But you already committed the crime. You had already committed the offense. You have already committed the offense. Please note that unnecessary administrative support has been extended to Elijah to facilitate their registration via the Jamaica Single Window for Trade platform to ensure a smooth application process for import permits for the buses. Should you have any concerns, sir, please contact Dr. U. Blake, Trade Administrator, CEO at 876-561-6020 or via email at hblack@tradeboard.government.jm for further information. And let me show the people who sign off on it. Yours sincerely, who? Danville A.J. Walker. Danville A.J. Walker, who once was criminally charged. You know, think we're going to mention that, Walker? Yes. These criminals that you have within the Jamaica Labour Party administration. So when I'm telling my Jamaican people that this administration unprecedentedly committed act of corruptions never have done before. And the amount of dear members of parliament involved in corruption, unprecedented. Take that away on it. Take that away. Now, any trust that you believe that you have Darrell Vaz and people must trust you has long gone. You cannot be trusted. You remember Darrell Vaz when you were talking about the 110 buses? The way how you sound and you use the children as a spawn to say that the opposition is wicked. The opposition doesn't want the school children to be supported. This is what you do. This is your MO. Right? Using the innocent as pawn. And again, you have doubled down with your actions as it relates to JPS. But your mission
is not to give the poor and needy energy. The real mission is to make sure that energy goes back to Brian Jardim and Adam Stewart Hotel. And that the vulture capitalists are okay. And so then, of course, you took the people's cat ban money and do what? Gave it to who? Gave it to an institution that have been manipulating Jamaicans for years. So where your priority lies, but we know, you understand, your level of your trickery and your treachery. Your behavior is treasonous as it relates to the Jamaican people. Now let me yield back and have Melting Pot come in the space. But
Yes, sir, Byron. Well, I'm just hoping that this, conviction of Andrew Wright, yeah, will be the first in a long list of conviction as it relates to people in high office with authority who have committed widespread fraud in Jamaica. So I, welcome this 10.7-year prison sentence, hard labor, handed out to Andrew Wright from Insport. And one thing that I would have liked to have some, information as, in regards to that 22 million, how much of it has been recouped back to put back in the public coffers in terms of auctioning some of the wealth that has been confiscated as well. But, we probably will get some information on that in due course. Now, looking at the Royal Reed saga, this is a saga that has long embraced Jamaican society, going on 7 years now. But where it's at right now, we start to see some, real positive light being shining on this individual and this case. It's long-standing case. And so, just looking at the headline as it relates to Royal Reed pleaded not guilty on various alleged allegation. Well, I did not expect anything different, But as my Titan brother Byron said, him can plead guilty as long as him want. We know where the evidence is because we have the evidence. So Royal Reed, you're just playing a last cards. Because, you must have enjoyed that long, extended period of not being sent to prison. And you must now also embrace the moment of being sent to prison. Because your action warrant a long, long prison sentence. Your 4 other accused as well deserve a long prison sentence. So, the judiciary finally has gotten its act together and decided, well, now that the stumbling block is out of the way, them go and proceed with some real action to deliver justice to the people of Jamaica. So just look forward to your long retirement behind bars. And I would send the same message to the other 4 accused. Because the situation that presents itself with Red Reed, is one of greed. One of greed, my people. Because when you are being given the privilege by the electorate, you must embrace that privilege and deliver on the back of that privilege. The job that you landed on the back of the electorate is a very lucrative job that, you don't need to do any other, hanky-panky business to enhance yourself and your family. There are a lot of privilege that comes with that job as well that you wouldn't have or, other people wouldn't have in normal circumstance. But what I notice with Jamaican elected politicians is that doing the job for the people on behalf of the people is not what they prescribe to. They prescribe to something more adventurous, something that will give them more stimulus, keep them awake at night rather than rest to wake up to work diligently on behalf of the Jamaican people. Them want to wake up at night, man. Sleepless night countings, monies and, examining their wealth, their illicit enrichment. We see where, a very disturbing aspect of the whole railroad saga present itself from the outset, where this elderly woman was used as a scapegoat to open an account in her name that millions of dollars went into, but that account was always held and kept in the possession of railroad. Railroad also used his nephew to accompany this elderly woman to the place of banking. So when the transaction done, card being handed back over to the nephew and cash as well. The elderly woman in her defense, when this very wicked and cruel and greedy man railroad got this woman implicated in such a way that, police went to her place of residence, arrest her. Luckily, her granddaughter, I don't remember if it's her daughter or her granddaughter was there, but she had a family member there with her, because this elderly woman probably is the first time she has ever happened to be in such an encounter. But she outlined clearly that she don't know anything about nothing more than opening a bank account that she was told to do by Mr. Royal Reid. And her only means of benefit was that he gave her 30,000. Well, that was established. Royal Reid also implicated his driver, who used to chauffeur around his kids and do some errand for him, making recommendation that this gentleman operate a catering service and all these things. And, that was categorically denied. I think that gentleman is now deceased. If I'm not mistaken, his surname was MacLeod, something of that sort. But he's now deceased. But anyhow, various high-profile statement was, taken from this gentleman before him demise. So those will also be used in the court in due time. So when you look at the various, form of fraud that this group of people carry out, it begs us to believe that this was a widespread practice right throughout Jamaica society in terms of these people at the top who are in charge of institutions like Insport and Carib Maritime Union. You understand? So we have to just look on these, travesty and corruption as something that becomes a norm in Jamaica society. And so we wait with bated breath for the outcome in this revelation. One that we hope, and we are more than 100% sure that will go in the favor of the taxpayers. And justice will be served after a mighty long time. Yeah? Now, Pumvas, I have to deal with you, I use a guy where always make yourself becomes a nuisance in a society. You have been doing this type of practice from a young boy. So I don't want to touch that. I go and left that alone for the time. Where I want to focus on is your time being a politician and how much time you have find yourself in hot water as it relates to all various type of corruption allegations surrounding your behavior and your practice as an elected politician in Jamaica. Now, we know about the beach retard that you miserly, undervalue to suit yourself. I mean, from a projected figure 13 million, you bring it all the way down to 6. You collect 7 somewhere in that region, and you were tracked by, U.S. law enforcement when you went to collect that money in Mexico, 140,000 US. Now we know all these practice are malpractice. We know about other circumstance where you misappropriate Jamaica property and funds. But what strike out most of all is this $1.4 billion. The last big money that you and Andrew Wallace decide, so well then, by all means, do not forget that because election is a priority. But we are getting it under a pretext that we are going to buy some new buses, school buses. And so you set up your rings of racketeer. All of them names I see as well, Them have to involve in the racket, Nah, me nah push them aside like them innocent. None of them names will appear for my list right now, not innocent to this. That well calculated plan. Yeah, I wanna execute it. Yeah. With the CEO at the top, Andrew Holness, kind of catching one side like him not involved. But when I'm involved, no. Yeah. You, Mr. Vaz, Mr. Pumvaz, you submitted a letter to approve a loan of 1.4 billion of Jamaican taxpayers' money. Yeah, for the importation of 110 new buses. That's what your letter stated. You also make mention of Elijah being the person who is charged with the responsibility of bringing in these buses into the island. I don't know if Elijah have an importation license for vehicles. Yeah. We also see where Dr. Hugh Blake, who is a trade administrator, him get involved too. Yeah, and everything, was signed off by Danville Scrappy Walker, a known criminal, Petrojam scandal. You understand? So I want to get this 1.4 billion, but they intended 110 new buses. The circumstance surrounding that changed drastically. It changed from 110 new buses, to 60 old school decommissioned buses. Because we not get the next 50, so we stop at 60. So the 110 new buses that you make mention of in your submitted letter now become 60 old decommissioned school buses that when them come to Jamaica, them have to get retrofit and all type of thing. And them cause mayhem on the road. And so far they have encountered several, accidents that must have racked up millions of dollars in compensation by the government. So this is a situation that you bring to Jamaica, that is costing Jamaicans taxpayers. But we are waiting on this 50 other additional buses from the first assignment of the 110 new buses, right? So what your defense will be in this case, Mr. Pumvaz? I want to ask you, because I have seen a same script playing out already, Yeah, Agintai was charged with the responsibility of bringing in new car for the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And ever since then, 30 vehicles still been outstanding, but can't come to Jamaica. So we are looking at a trend, a trend of corruption that we are seeing, as a pattern amongst the Jamaica Labour Party member of parliament. They have always done this type of, illicit enrichment deal because they are the one that benefit. They use a certain product to identify when they must steal the money. This is why there is no accountability. This is why $3 trillion cannot be accounted for. This is why we are hearing that, from the Minister of Finance that a lot of these things were not, submitted and for 11 years. Rubbish! No government cannot be running a country where checks and balance are hidden for 11 years. And no one from within that government structure entity does not ask for information surrounding these 11 years of unprovided documents. So that is rubbish coming from Favour Williams, as the Minister of Finance. And in regards to Mr. Pumvas, I must tell you that you are facing a serious situation that is surely winding down on you. Because under no circumstance you cannot get away with this $1.4 billion. You cannot sell us a bad product, a product that is filled with misinformation and disinformation. And when the true revelation of your program is revealed, it found you to be in several breaches. You can't get away, This won't be like the beach resort and the other venture them that you dip your hand into, We have some building we want to rent, we want to use. We are rack up millions of dollars a year time. I want to fully well know about these things. Remember your involvement in SSL as the man who is in charge of various accounts from within the Jamaica Labour Party. So this just show how much you embrace corruption. But you are the guy now who is in charge of some very sensitive aspect of Jamaica society as it relates to our port, air and sea, as it relates to even transport, telecommunication. Your role in those three departments, highlight, suspicion of fraudulent appointment because you are not qualified for any of these positions. So your appointment is fraudulent as far as I'm concerned because you lack in the scope in regards to every aspect of these sensitive ministry that you head. Remember your 2112, that should bar you from the port them. Your 2112, should bar you from the port them. Now with the allegation from you, the young boy surrounding, people that, have the age of attending school. You should never be the man to even institute nothing for school. So school program bus should never be on your agenda, You should stay far away from the word school. And even when it comes to energy, you cost Jamaica a lot in energy by Jamaica have to abandon and scrap our daylight saving time program. But here is you now in charge of energy. So as I say, all of your three position, them fraud. And the people who appoint you, like Mr. 28 bank account, him fraud himself too. So when we look on the whole, eventuality we unfolds in a Jamaica, is that Jamaica is run by people of fraudulent description, fraudulent substance, people who have no character, no credibility, people who are not transparent to even tell one single truth to the population of the country, people who comes and formulate things and project lies upon lies in front of their own media, because they know the media is weak and will not challenge their lies. So these corrupted politicians get away with a lot of lies being spoken in public place. to the public of Jamaica. And I yield back the floor to my brother.
All right, brother Melting Pot. But Melting Pot, I am going to drop the sledge tonight, the bomb tonight.
Drop it.
Now, people, let me say this. You notice how the corruption work. I'm going to expose the system of corruption. You notice with the 110 school buses, right, who signed off to make the process flow easy? Danville Walker. Danville Walker. Now, you notice Darrell Vaz again, right? Use Danville Walker to sign off so that he can trick the system in getting the $1.4 billion. Now watch this again, people. Do you also know that Darrell Vaz rushing with this JPS situation? We know very well that they're up to some level of criminality. People, you know who is on the JPS board? Danville Walker. Now, let me show the people what is going on. We're going to give you a history of Danville Walker. So you see the corruption with Darrell Vaz and Danville Walker link. But Danville Walker also link to the Bush towards them. And we know that, okay, all of this is all about Brian Jordan, right, and Adam Stewart, right, pushing them to make these decisions. It's all about them. It is nothing, it has nothing to do with, right, giving back light, right, to poor people. Nothing like that. Crony capitalists, it's all about them. Now look here, people. Senior Vice President Honorable Danville Walker, OJ, JP, on his return from his New York in 1996, where he was the president of Walkers and Associates, was appointed Director of Elections and Head of Electoral Office of Jamaica from 1997 to 2008. Walker's first execution of general election was so impressive that the former president of the United States, Jimmy Carter, an observer at the time, commended the team for their excellent work in the reformation of the election process, which made for the first professional run general elections in years. This is crony capitalism, you understand, giving way for crony capitalists. Soon after, Walker and his team were recommended to assist the government of Antigua and Barbados and Guyana with the logistics for their general elections. Watch this now, people. In 2004, while still serving as Director of Elections and Head of Electoral Office of Jamaica, Walker was appointed as the Head of Office of the National Reconstruction to oversee the reconstruction efforts in the aftermath of Hurricane Ivan that wreaked havoc on our island. During his tenure, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, Danville Walker, was conferred with the Order of Jamaica, right? One of Jamaica's highest honor for his outstanding work in the reformation of the election process in Jamaica. In 2008, he was appointed Commissioner of Customs, right? Which was transformed into executive agency under his watch. So I am showing you the strategy in how the Jamaica Labour Party, you understand, build up, you understand, they're crony capitalists, put them in high position, you understand, to evoke, right, anything that they want them to do. He resigned from the position in 2011 and ran as Jamaica Labour Party candidate. Listen, people, in the Central Manchester constituency where he was unsuccessful in his bid. Nobody no want him, man. In February 2012, he resigned from the Jamaica Labour Party and assumed the position of Managing Director of Jamaica Observer. You know where he gone? Jamaica Observer. Who owned Jamaica Observer? The Stewart. Soon after, he was appointed by the chairman, Honorable Gordon Bush Stewart, as Group Managing Director of all the companies in the ATL Industry Group, including Appliance Traders Limited, ATL Automotive Limited, and FIA 105 until 2018. So I am telling you the clan as it relates to the Stewart clan, right? That is one of the reasons also, you know, if you look in terms of how Bush Stewart at one point did control Air Jamaica, you know, use Air Jamaica and then give back the government to Air Jamaica after finish skull out Air Jamaica. Now, in 2019, he resigned from the position of Managing Director, Jamaica Observer, and was appointed in June of the same year to the position of the National Project Director of Social Housing in the Ministry of Economic and Growth and Job Creation. You hear that, people? And the Andrew Wallace, listen up. Hey, people, the corruption, listen me. People, the corruption turn up. Look here. In 2019, he resigned from his position of Managing Director from Jamaica Observer and was appointed in June of the same year to the position of National Project Director of Social Housing in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation until his departure in June 2021. You understand? I mean, this is one of Andrew Owner's portfolios. Now, when he joined West Indies Petroleum Limited in the capacity of Senior Vice President on July 1, 21st, and we all understand what happened to Petrojam. We all know what happened to Petrojam and the corruption, people. All know what happened to Petrojam and the corruption. Right? Some of the show Jamaican people, the clan. Mr. Walker served as chairman of the trade board and board member of Jamaica Public Service. Here, people, Mr. Walker served as chairman of the trade board and board member of the Jamaica Public Service. Darrell Vaz, once again, here you are. Let me ask you, what you up to? You and Danville Walker run the bus program for Jamaica, where Danville Walker set it up for you, knowing to the fact that you're out on the mission of criminality, and pen the whole thing for you and sign off. Danville Walker sign off on 110 new buses. Danville Walker signed off on 110 new buses. And you only brought in 60 school buses. And right about now, as we speak, people, half of them in a garage. People, half of those school buses are in garage. Now, Darrell Vaz said, they use up him same way I'm behaving with the school bus. I same way I'm behaving in Parliament with JPS. Say, PNP bad mind. And PNP no want to see this is something good happen to the school youth them. Using the innocent kid. This man is vicious. Using innocent children as a pawn to rob the country resources. The school bus program crashed, and they don't want to talk about it. The school bus program crashed. Half of those buses are in garage, park up, done with it. Done with it. And the rest of the buses still not arriving at the island. And Danville Walker and Darrell Vaz on another mission with JPS. That mean the country any good? But for the Jamaican people who voted for them, they are to be blamed. They are to be blamed. The people on social media who they take up for them. I don't want to China girl say she name Chin. Eh? Because you know you eat out of the food. You know you eat out of the trough. You Vegas. I don't know you eat out of the trough. Big Mama, Draws Davis. Yeah, we're putting things together and show Jamaican people the syndicate of vampires who suck in the blood of innocent. That's what you people do. Suck in the blood of the innocent. But Jamaica, let me show you how the wickedness double down. Where are we going from here? Let us get back to Brother Peter Bunting. Because we did not finish it today. You understand? We just leave it for tonight so that we can elaborate on the matter. Now let us get back to Bunting Speaks. Let us identify the criminals. Sometimes these guys themselves acting as if they are innocent and speaking out against criminality when they are the same ones who are the criminals. Now people listen to this.
Start by quoting. Let me start by quoting. In the debate on the bill establishing the new Integrity Commission, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, then said, and I quote, "As a politically independent country, we could have achieved much more were it not for corruption in many forms. Revenue leakage,
That's 2017.
Revenue leakage due to corrupt practices, misuse of public funds, and the overall perception of pervasive corruption, all of which have served to compromise the flow of investment into our country." Listen to this, Alvin. All of which have served to compromise the flow of investment into our country. End quote. Now, this helps explain why net foreign direct investment in 2023 is less than half what it was in 2015. It is less than half. It is less than half what it was. You know, that's like pushing a knife 6 inches into somebody's back, pulling it out 2 inches and then celebrating, right? The net, listen to the data. Listen to the data. Net foreign direct investment in 2023, World Bank statistics, 376 million. In 2015, it was 926 million, right? Clearly, corruption has compromised the flow of investment into our country, based on the Prime Minister's statement. The Prime Minister continued. The Prime Minister continued, and I quote, "The Economic Growth Council has also recently identified corruption as a significant retardant to growth." End quote. But let me repeat that. Prime Minister Andrew Holness continued, quote, "The Economic Growth Council has also recently identified corruption as a significant retardant to growth." End quote. Now, colleagues, we understand why notwithstanding all the economic and fiscal reforms implemented since 2013, growth is so elusive. The PM signaled it. Corruption. The PM signaled it. Corruption. But let me continue. In his message to commemorate International Anti-Corruption Day in 2020, the Prime Minister stated, and I again quote, "Under the leadership of Chairman the Honorable Justice Seymour Panton, the Commission continues to distinguish itself, operating without fear or favor, in pursuit of a just and corruption-free public sector, and ensuring the best and most efficient use of public resources." End quote. What a full-throated and unqualified endorsement of the Integrity Commission and its leadership under Justice Panton. Now, this is where, you know, that meme that they use on YouTube or TikTok that says, "A few moments later." In this one, it would be a few years later, after the Integrity Commission issued a damning investigative report on the same Prime Minister, detailing a series of complex financial arrangements involving 28 bank accounts with thousands of transactions and hundreds of millions of dollars passing betwixt and between these accounts. Well,
yes, so you're saying
suddenly, that same PM has now gone to court, and I'm not commenting on the strength of his case. Just the fact is, he has gone to court seeking to strike down the provisions of the Integrity Commission Act and declare Section 14(5) unconstitutional. My observation is simple, that it's very unusual, in fact extraordinary, that a law piloted and passed by his government and which his Attorney General would have certified as constitutional is now being challenged in court. That's all I'm saying. And let me start by quoting. In the debate on the bill establishing the new Integrity Commission, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, then said, and I quote, "As a politically independent country, we could have achieved much more were it not for corruption in many forms. Revenue leakage due to corrupt practices, misuse of public funds, and the overall perception of pervasive corruption, all of which have served to compromise the flow of investment into our country." Listen to this, Alvin. All of which have served to...
My Jamaican people, and let me just read along as it relates to, you know, what Peter Bunting said here. And, you know, I do agree with Peter Bunting, but I want to say something after this. Peter Bunting wrote, "The hypocrisy is glaring. Prime Minister Andrew Holness once championed the fight against corruption, even hailing the Integrity Commission for its fearless work. Now, as the IC uncovers damning evidence involving him, his government is attempting to dismantle the very systems they put in place to hold corrupt accountable. from blocking unexplained wealth orders to abandoning body-worn camera commitments, the JP is proving that their promises were nothing more than empty words. Take it away on it. Let me just add my 2 cents to this. Let me add my 2 cents to this. Jamaica, of all my years, watching movies and experiencing some very well profound actors, solid movie stars. We see likes like my old friend here. What is his name again? Huh?
I don't know which movie you're thinking.
I'm the one that said that I resemble him.
Oh, Denzel Washington.
I see likes like a Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington. Right? Very good actor. Very good actor. Right? And many more actors. Some of the names I can't really remember. But the truth be told, I have never seen one so profound as Andrew Owners. He mastered the art of a snake's eyesman. He has the ability to turn water into wine. Trust me. And so then, of course, he will go to Parliament and he will fight tooth and nail to put in a system as it relates to the Integrity Commission Act 2017. But while he's doing it, he is the principle of evil. I have read Animal Farm, and we have learned about Napoleon the pig, mimicking the Russian politics. But I am telling you, none of them is good like an Andrew Holness. One of the best I have ever seen. A man who will organize as it relates to marginalization of the distribution of relief. But will go into Parliament and say none of this is happening. None of it. A man who will cause others to speak highly of him, like the World Bank lady. But it's his tentacles that outreach in the influence of certain institutions that breaking them apart and having them morally bankrupt. Who we are dealing with is Satan in flesh. We don't want to believe it, yes or no. And nature is against him because he has been identified in the spiritual realm. He's 100% pure evil. This man is evil as they can be. So when you look at what he had said, saying that corruption stifle progress, can you imagine that him, Andrew Holness, is saying that corruption stifle progress? So let me ask Jamaica, let me ask the big question. If Andrew Holness knows that corruption stifle progress, and Andrew Holness involved in corruption, what Andrew Holness is saying to us, that he's making sure and ensuring that he stifle our progress. You have heard it for yourself. You have listened to Peter Bunting quoting Andrew Holness. And Andrew Holness is telling you, Jamaica, that corruption stifle progress. But look what Andrew Holness is doing now. Let me show you. Look what Andrew Holness is doing. Play it so we can show the people. So if he knows that corruption stifles progress and he is the author of corruption, then you must understand that he's stifling your progress. Court fight. Holness wants section of law governing illicit enrichment probes declared unconstitutional. This is unprecedented. The man who you are just listening to say to the world that corruption stifles progress. This is what the man who said corruption stifles progress, this is what the man is doing. Holness wants section of the law governing illicit enrichment probes declared unconstitutional. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has asked the Supreme Court to strike down a law used by the Integrity Commission to probe public officials for illicit enrichment, calling it unconstitutional. A ruling in the head of government's favor could affect investigation into 8 parliamentarians. We have just listened to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said categorically speaking that corruption stifles progress. And this is the Prime Minister's mission. This is the Prime Minister's mission. Holness also wants the court to gut unspecified provisions of the 2017 Integrity Commission Act, giving the lack of fairness, impartiality, and independence in the exercise of the functions of the divisions and the commission as presently structured. Those 2 are among 21 declarations or orders that Holness is seeking in an application to the Supreme Court to have an IC investigation report into his financial affairs rejected as unlawful and unfair. The IC report dated August 30, 2024 was released by the House of Representatives on September 17. Open court. This is what the Prime Minister is saying. I believe that the tabling of the report was intended to embarrass and cause harm to me, and as such was made for an improper purpose and in bad faith to prejudice and harm me. He said, alleging further that it sought to impute criminal and unethical conduct to me and other applicants. Let me ask a question, Andrew Honest. Can you explain where you get your wealth? Can you explain your illicit enrichment? Can you explain your illicit enrichment? And let me tell the IC something. What the IC don't know. That the IC is only investigating what the IC saw. But there are many things that you have owned out there that the IC don't know about. We have heard that you have owned several trucks that dealing with dumping in the backside region. Is that a lie? Does the IC knows about Juliet Owner's big mansion? $800 million apartment. We don't see none of that. Declare on your statutory declaration. We don't see none of that in the part. We don't see none of that in it. No.
Can't certify.
Him can never certify. Him can never ever certify. The application by owners is Company Imperium Investment Holding Limited and related entities Positive Media Solutions Limited and Positive Jamaica Foundation Limited. A charity for permission to seek judicial review was filed on September 30. A judicial review allows the court to scrutinize processes used by a public authority to make decision. And let us tell the public, you have lost this case. You have lost this case, Andrew. The judge found that your application was unreasonable. Take this away. Let me talk to the public. Now, when we present ourselves here, and we heard, as it relates to Peter Bunting quoting Andrew Honest, right, that he's one that stands for justice, and openly stated that corruption, right, stop progress. And then if the Prime Minister is saying that corruption stop progress, and the Prime Minister involved in corruption, then it goes to say that the Prime Minister intended to stop our progress. Am I lying? Am I lying to summarize it that way? No. The Prime Minister is a hypocrite. The Prime Minister is as corrupt as they come. And I eat back. Melting pot.
Yes, sir, Byron. Why, may I tell you, that's some real riveting facts and revelation you just touched a while ago. I want to finish up on the Pumbad saga there. Just something I just want to highlight as it relates to Elijah, Dr. Hugh Blake, and Danville Scrappy Walker. You know, so all of them three, well, these two individuals and the entity, Elijah, all of them distance themselves from the claim that they were involved in the operation. So I just want to point that out to the people who tune in tonight, because that was a fact. All of them in response, when the corruption break, distance themselves, so them not have nothing to do. So just want to clear up that. Now, just, listening to Peter Bunting, going back over Andrew Holness and what Andrew Holness said as it relates to corruption, it marvels me in the sense that Andrew Holness, said Andrew Holness, my people, who when he was the leader of the opposition running against Portia Simpson, this was the same Andrew Holness that was very much against corruption. He speaks so eloquent as it relates to corruption. This man reel off a barrage of scandal and all type of scandal and mother of scandal. You know, it beggars to believe if it's the same Andrew Holness, this was wrapped up in so much corruption. But we know Andrew Holness is a guy who play reverse psychology, you know. Yeah, because, you know, his only qualification is political science. So we expect a lot of this type of gamesmanship from Andrew Holness as it relates to reverse psychology. If Andrew tell you run, you walk. If him tell you walk, try creep. Do the opposite to what him say. Now, in the light of net foreign investment, yeah, and we're talking about US currency here, my people. In 2015, foreign investment was 926 million US dollar. Yeah. By 2023, foreign investment in Jamaica fell all the way down to 376 million US dollar. Now, over that 8 years period, there was a decline of 550 million US dollars in foreign investment into the island. So that just show you, yeah, as it relates to what Andrew Wallace was saying about corruption. We all know that corruption drive away investors. Yeah. And here is Peter Bunting quoting from Andrew Holness. Yes, Andrew Holness said, as a political independent country, we could have achieved a lot more if it were not for widespread government corruption. Now, that is food for thought. This is Andrew Holness dropping his guard and for once speaking a bit of truth and clarity. So, you know, we have to look at that because just over 8 year period, yeah, foreign investment into Jamaica fell from 926 million to 376 million, a total decline of 550 million US dollar. Now, that is just showing you how fragile the economy becomes. Yeah, but this is Andrew Holness we have in charge. This is the guy, yeah, who have all the plans for Jamaican, yeah, to supply Jamaican with a commodity of prosperity. I know that can't come. Yeah, Jamaican has been suffering more than ever before. Can't buy a bread again. Yam buy not even piece of yam. Yam gone 1,000, 1,600, one piece of yam. And you see what the whole situation look like as it relates to, you know, purchasing power and people ability to buy goods in Jamaica. That taken away from them. And that one of the most, you know, what you call now astute prime minister ever to be in charge of Jamaica. The man have all the plan, but all of Andrew Holness' plan, they were all wrong. Now, yeah, Andrew, I hear my Titan brother kind of, you know, attribute something to Andrew, but I know Andrew not capable of that. Sir Byron, you say Andrew can't turn water into wine. No. God not give them the power, them, my brother. Andrew is a bro devil, so you know him not have the power to do what God can do. But Andrew can do. Yeah? And for sure, I guarantee you say Andrew can turn wine into water. Because him is a guy who like to dilute things and reduce things to nothing. So the more water I'm pouring a wine, wine becomes disintegrated and becomes water. So Andrew can never turn water into wine, but we sure know him can turn wine into water. Yeah? Now let us look at Andrew and, the allegation surrounding illicit enrichment. Yeah? Now, we see where Andrew, a ball, and I tell the Integrity Commission, yeah, to them to struck out a section, yeah, of the law governing illicit enrichment, yeah, probe, because it is unconstitutional. Now, this guy is delusional in my calculation, because you can have a system that is a deterrent factor towards corruption, where you did a preach, yeah, how much you were against corruption when you was an opposition leader. But here is you now, when you are, entrusted with the running affair of Jamaica, you are the Prime Minister. You, the same Andrew Wallace, is begging Integrity Commission to struck out a critical aspect that govern illicit enrichment. What an audacity. Now, we know, Andrew, you can explain your well. And from the minute you set foot into the landscape of Jamaica political affairs, you have never been certified. You came into politics 1997. The first year that you would have to submit was for, that period leading up to 1998. And you have never submitted anything of any substance that has clarity as it relates to your wealth. You have hidden several of your affairs from the Integrity Commission. And so you become delinquent when it comes to certification. You have never gotten one. Never in your 27-year plus in politics have you ever been certified. And Jamaican people must know this for a fact, because it's a fact. He has never been certified. He has been lying from day one. And when you lie from day one, it's just not, it's not something you can correct over a period of time. Yeah? Because there is nothing that can be taken on face value or trust. When you have to deal with a liar, yeah, it's hard to believe him, So even when him have the truth, it come like the little boy and the wolf. Even when him have to tell you the truth, you not believe him. Can play brother and Nancy and trick society over a long period of time. Yeah? So Andrew Wallace, you have to face the music. When it come to all of your 28 bank account, where I think you will at record for statesman in the world, I don't think not even Putin have them amount of bank account. Him at the Kremlin for Russia. Him can't do what he want to. But as a dictator, Putin no see the need for 28 bank account. Yeah? But you see the need for 28 bank account. And the simple reason is because you are doing something dodgy. You have a lot of things to hide. You can't put them one place because you don't want. Just like how you deal with the consolidator fund. Yeah? When you mix up things, and scramble people brains, hard for them, find where them I look for. So the same thing now when you spread out your 28 bank account. The money where we are look for, we can't find them in a one, because you spread them out. So we know you are doing, you are dealing with illicit practice, man. And you enrich yourself under the terms of illicit enrichment. So we have you well and truly lacking to do this type of corruption practice. And the law must take its course, because you're not bigger than the law, You don't bigger than the law. You are trying to project yourself to be above the law. But you can never be above the law that governs the Jamaican people. The 1944 People's Act and the Constitution, you can't overpower that. No matter how you try, you're going to fail in that regard. Because I know people who practice law or who sit on the bar council. The majority of them are not stupid and logger-headed like you. They have a career that they have to protect. You be a scant regard. Scant regard to the privilege that the Jamaican electorate have given to you as a prime minister. Yeah, very few people anywhere in the world get that honorary status. You are one, yeah, of the chosen, but you are the worst amongst all that has been chosen. And we're talking about from the world coming at inception and you have prime minister and president, you know. You languish at the bottom, you know. And me I tell you, say you're the way behind the man where they above you. In the worst category of leader in the country. You're worse than all of them dictatorial leader where we have. This is how bad your thing. Because remember you wage all war and all baby and them tie, you know. You confuse your mentality and your ideology. It's diabolic. That even the baby them you attack them. Remember the young people them in your country one aim and objectivity for them, you know, is for what? Radam them. You know have nothing more for them, you know, more than radam them, you know. Remember you use that phrase of reference all in a parliament and you and your cronies them joke over it and beat the table. Without a fanfare over the word radam. That's the creator for radam. Say you're a madman for you use that. So we know we look upon you as a nonsensical guy. And I tell you all along, you know, you are not prime minister material and you're certainly not surplus to requirement. You know, the Jamaican people are fear right now. Them not want you to manage it no more. Too much of your policy has failed the Jamaican people. Because they are wrong policy and they are bad policies. 12-year-old must be in KRC. All those world record you're breaking in that regard. World record. And people might say, well, melting pot, I say. Yeah, it sounds funny, but that's true. That is a world record by any other country to have 12-year-old sitting in a car seat. I have some very big 12-year-old, you know. All them going fit in that. And even the average 12-year-old can't fit in it. So you just look on these type of policy where Andrew Wallace, you know, serve up as a diet for the Jamaican people. They are poisonous. Poisonous. But yet still, foreigners are given a charm life and a luxury life to live and operate and work in Jamaica space. So that is just showing you that once again, that is another bad policy we roll out on the Jamaican people. Foreigners can use and appreciate, you know, our beaches for their white sand and, you know, picturesque coastline and all them things there. While the Jamaican people are barred, banned, not allowed to venture on these coastline unless it's a special day that is designated for locals. No, I've never seen or heard of that anywhere else in the world. Not even in a war zone. Them not have nothing to do with beach. Beach is not a part of them agenda. But in a Jamaica under Andrew Holness dictatorship style, we have seen where beaches have been, you know, becomes a prime asset to the government. And so the ordinary citizens of Jamaica are not privileged anymore to even access beach. And it's a simple fact that all who is in charge of this country, that set of people that you can attribute the word cliques. They are a cliques. They are not individual, you know, with their own ideologistic idea, you know. All of them come together and work towards, you know, destroying the fabric and the soul of Jamaicans in Jamaica. That's what they have done. So don't let them trick and fool, you know, with the slogan, choose Jamaica. Because you will continue to choose and never see Jamaica. You can't touch Jamaica, you can't have Jamaica. Even when you live in a Jamaica. Because the privilege are not being given to Jamaicans anymore. Michael Manley gave that and gave it abundantly and gave it with pride to our people. He said, you walk with me hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder. Right? That is a man that show care. That is a man that have the people interest at heart. Yeah? Him tell you about the pride you never have before. When him give back to you because of socialism. And nothing will turn that back. Because is a defender of the poor. And my Jamaican people is like that piece of blueprint paper where Michael Mann leave for the work after. It's like when you take a matches and light it and burn it. And what we achieve? We achieve a blueprint with restriction. Lot of, red tape. We can't even access the God-given facility in a Jamaica. This government make sure no privilege denied. Just like when you say access denied. Privilege denied. So, culturally as a society, we're going back where when a society can enjoy music that it has created, that has become world renowned and worldwide accepted. It's a far cry of what social life should look like. I will know what social life has to offer every individual. It's a form of therapy to ease your mind and relax your body and to also energize your spirit. But under Andrew Wallace government, that destroy, young time you can't have any form of semblance of that commodity. You have to go uptown. You have to find yourself in a Ruby's Cactus or Asylum or one of them new place where them create. Yeah? Them things are wrong. Wrong. So we have to now consider what do we want as a nation? As a people of Jamaica, what do we want to achieve? If not for ourselves, but for our generation. What do we want? Because our heroes, them did want something for we, Them did want to free we from mental slavery and, hard life slavery. Them shed them blood. Them give them life. And we have disregard all of that effort because we are a people that don't even know how to hold on to a sovereignty. We are a people that can be easily bought. We are a set of people that, dangle the carrot and we sell with sovereignty. Because a piece of paper, can become the defiant factor where all our use for betray our brother and our sister. Money. See, a lot of that are going on in our society where, it I have to kill. All them things they pay money for kill. No, come on, Jamaican man. Wake up, man. Wake up. Pioneer like Bob Marley and Jimmy Cliff, In them music, them teach us a lot, as it relates to love and unity. You understand? And even when them soul the gone home, to a resting place, them still aggrieve. Them still aggrieve. Because, the principle where them stand up for and support, where them see Jamaican are doing, it shows scant regard and disrespect to them principle. So we are said to the people in Jamaica once again. Yeah? Don't be too late to achieve what you want in life. Yeah? The time isn't here and the time is now. God changes have to be on the forefront of the burner now in Jamaica. It can't be on the back burner anymore. You have to bring it to the front now. Because the cruelty, and the high level of atrocity, victimization, suppression, marginalization, all of these type of words that is not good for human consumption. And that we see the government here serve up. So we have to we have to kick with that and burn that, man. I yield back the floor to you, my brother. Sir Byron. Yeah, I yield back.
Okay, well said,
Yeah,
melting pot. Well said, melting pot. Tonight, we are going to drop another bombshell. Now, last week, melting pot and I, right, we agreed, right, based on what at the time I suspected. And we talk about it as it relates to, you know, the situation between Venezuela and, of course, the United States and Jamaica. And I remember saying, for all those people who followed me, saying that the fine that the police so-called find drugs was to sell into a narrative as it relates to what United States is accusing Venezuela president of. And my Jamaican people, I was 100% right. Now I'm going to show you the evidence. I also remember saying that give Andrew Holness between a week or two, he was going to choose the very side that Donald Trump had chosen. But I never know that it was going to happen even faster than what I predicted. It happened in a couple of days. I remember show you all the countries in the Caribbean that support United States and countries who don't. And I told you at the time that Jamaica was neutral. And Jamaica want a reason, right, not to look hypocritical, but one that he can utilize diplomatically. Now watch this, Jamaican people. Let me take you through the evidence that I took you through last week and bring the solid evidence of what Andrew Holness had done. The very same thing I predicted, the very same thing happened. Watch this now, people. Let us go back and remind you of what we talk about. Let us bring up that money. JDF Coast Guard makes major drugs. Let us bring back your memory of what we spoke about and what I said. Listen, people. Listen this.
The Jamaica Defense Force Coast Guard has made a major strike against drug traffickers seeking to smuggle cocaine into the island. This followed the seizure of 506 kilograms or more than 1,000 pounds of cocaine last evening along the country's southern coastline. Now, the multi-million-dollar drug bust occurred after the JDF Coast Guard intercepted a suspicious vessel south of Moran Point. This led to a high-speed chase. Now, during the encounter, the drug traffickers reportedly dumped several packages overboard and escaped. The Coast Guard recovered the drugs, which was handed to the narcotics police. It is believed the cocaine shipment originated from South America. Head of the Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division, Superintendent Patricia Rowe, told our news center that the cocaine has a street value of hundreds of millions of dollars. He said the FNID and the JDF Coast Guard have been working closely with their overseas partners to intercept illicit drugs entering Jamaica's borders. Now, Superintendent Rowe also added the seizure is a significant blow to organized crime in Jamaica.
Now, this is how geopolitics work at its best, right? Where Jamaica, as it relates to Andrew Holness, right, now supporting Trump, right, as it relates to the reason, right, as to why Trump, right, authorized over 70 people to be killed in the Caribbean Sea. Vicious. Now, I said, then, okay, if you are chasing the boat, why not have the video evidence? Remember I said that, people. Why not have the video evidence to show? You remember I said that, melting pot. Why not have the video evidence to show us all and to give the evidence that yes, indeed. Where is the evidence? Apart from you showing us, you understand, some cocos bag tie up. And where did that drugs really came from? Remember I said all of that, Jamaican people. Now watch this, people. Play the next clip on it. I said I'm going to show you what we know of the countries who are backing, right, the United States. Let me go back again, right, and show you. Now, this is it. What we know of the countries backing U.S. military moves in the Caribbean. Let me show you them. Go down here, Trinidad and Tobago, as its armed forces amass in the region, building pressure on Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. Okay, so we have Trinidad and Tobago. Let us go down. And then what we have here, you're going to see other countries. We have Guyana. Guyana backed the U.S. military deployment in the Caribbean shortly after it started in August. Let us go down, right? El Salvador. El Salvador in early November, an AC-130J military aircraft operated by the U.S. Air Force was spotted in El Salvador, Cabalapa Cooperative Security Base, according to photos and satellite imagery obtained by CNN. All right. Panama. U.S. military personnel are conducting training exercises in Panama, although the government of President Jose Raul Maluna is trying to downplay the matter. Now, people, Dominican Republic. President Luis Abinader said Monday that Dominican Republic and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration would launch much more extensive and in-depth actions in fight against drug trafficking, right? Puerto Rico and other bases. Puerto Rico, a self-governing U.S. territory in the Caribbean, also plays a key role in the deployment as it contains the most U.S. military base in the Caribbean, right? After this, right, take that away on it. I also show you information where I show you over 70% of United States citizens don't agree with Donald Trump and is saying that Donald Trump needs to present the evidence. No. Look on the turn. Hold on. Let me just explain to the people on it. Now, Jamaica, I am going to tell you something, right? That I am surprised that the journalists are talking about. I saw 3 Chinook helicopter came to Jamaica. And my wife is right here beside me. And as it says, like, okay, they are assisting in terms of helping with the relief, aid relief, right, and assist in search and rescue. Jamaica people, when I saw it, I said, 3 Chinooks helicopters. Why 3 Chinooks helicopters? And I said to my wife that, no. Are those 3 Chinook? I never said it on social media. No, I said to my wife is right here. I said to my wife, there's something I don't understand why 3 Chinook helicopters are in the Jamaican space. Is it that they're under a pretext that they are helping out with relief aid, but use that as a ploy to have a launch pad in Jamaica as it relates to what is trending in the Caribbean between United States and Venezuela? People, I said it to my wife. My wife is right here. Now, listen to this now, people. Wife, you play the next clip. And I said that Andrew Holness, okay, just carry it up to about half because he said it, yes, carry it about here. Listen to this, people. You are going to see how Andrew Holness skillfully supporting Donald Trump as it relates to what is going on in the Venezuela, in the Caribbean. Listen to him.
Support, long-term reconstruction support, financial support. As it relates to South African President Ramaphosa, I will be meeting with him in a few minutes. So I'll have a better sense as to what South Africa will do.
Do you think there needs to be more done in terms of climate financing? That was something that was important for President Ramaphosa as part of the G20. That is something that a nation like Jamaica should push for and does push for. Do you think there's been progress on those discussions?
I think a lot has been said about climate financing. But I do agree with you, much more needs to be done in terms of making funding more accessible, which has always been a significant challenge of just accessing, and in developed countries keeping their commitment to funding some of the initiatives in climate change and resilience building.
Does the declaration go far enough then that we got out of this G20?
I think the declaration is a strong declaration in this regard. I will say this though, the climate change movement is obviously being challenged, as is the multilateral movement. For small countries like Jamaica, we don't see climate change as an academic discourse. Climate change is a reality. We're seeing more intense, more frequent, and overlapping weather events, which could be attributed to a change in the climate, whether it is natural or man-made. The truth is that the change in the climate is having an impact on the balance sheets of countries. We could wake up one day and one event, 40% of our GDP is wiped out. So for us, climate change is a practical thing, and the way to respond to it is for the global architecture, whether it is a financial architecture or the way in which countries relate to each other bilaterally, is to build resilience. So resilience is the bridge, I believe, where both arguments and perspectives should meet.
Prime Minister, I just want to finish on one point. Of course, the U.S. president is not here, but we have seen increased tensions in your region between the U.S. and Venezuela, very close to Jamaica. How do you assess the situation at this point? What are some of the risks that you see here?
We always maintain that the Caribbean is a zone of peace, and we want to ensure that it is a zone of peace. Any action that challenges that or changes that view would have or could have devastating impact on tourism, which is the major foreign exchange earner for most countries in the Caribbean. Having said that, however, there must be consideration for countries in the region for rising crime, rising transshipment, and drugs. So there is need to tackle this business of drugs, transshipment, and rising crime linked to these operations in the region. So whatever is being done should be done with consideration for the economy of the region, safety and respect for the sovereignty of the people. But Jamaica does support actions against drug cartels and other actors that create crime and violence in our country.
Have you spoken to any U.S. officials about that?
We're always constantly in dialogue.
Take it away. Take it away. Full support and endorsement for Donald Trump. Full support and endorsement. Now, watch the next clip, my people. Look at the next clip. Full support.
Right now, rescue teams from the U.S. are hard at work in Jamaica, helping with relief efforts following Hurricane Melissa. The devastating storm has been blamed.
Will the U.S. leave Jamaica, or is a secret military buildup starting?
Jamaica is supposed to be receiving humanitarian aid, but what if this relief mission is the beginning of something far bigger and far more strategic? As U.S. military helicopters thundered across our skies after Hurricane Melissa, many Jamaicans felt relief. But others asked a question our leaders won't dare speak publicly. Will these troops actually leave after the relief mission? Or has Jamaica quietly stepped into the center of a geopolitical storm brewing between Washington and Caracas? Across the Caribbean, warning signs are flashing. U.S. warships are docking in Trinidad. Stealth aircraft are being deployed around the southern Caribbean. Venezuela has mobilized troops and accused the United States of preparing for military action. And meanwhile, without public debate or parliamentary discussion, the U.S. has placed more boots on Jamaican soil than at any time in recent memory. A humanitarian mission, or the foundation of something much bigger. In this video, we investigate the possibility that Jamaica is becoming more than a disaster site, that we may be sliding, quietly and unknowingly, into the role of a strategic U.S. forward operating location. Let's go deeper. The hurricane that opened a door. When Hurricane Melissa devastated Jamaica, the U.S. military responded fast, almost too fast. 3 CH-47 Chinooks, 3 Black Hawks, 3 CH-53E heavy lift helicopters, Marines, airmen, special operations capable units. Nearly a dozen military aircraft landing, lifting, and moving across the island within hours. It was one of the largest U.S. aviation deployments to Jamaica in decades. And it arrived under the perfect cover: humanitarian aid. On the surface, everything looks normal. Food drops, evacuations, medical supplies. But seasoned geopolitical analysts know this pattern well. Throughout history, major powers have often entered friendly territories during disasters, not to conquer, but to position, to observe, to map, to establish logistics. Once the machinery is on the ground, the host nation becomes accustomed to the presence. That is how temporary missions quietly evolve into ongoing partnerships. The U.S. military now has landing zones, flight routes, fuel points, and on-the-ground assessments of Jamaica's terrain and infrastructure. These aren't small things. In military planning, these details become the blueprint for future operations, whether humanitarian or otherwise. And with the region heating up, Jamaica may have just become more valuable than ever. Trinidad picks a side, and the region shifts. While Jamaica is dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, another story was unfolding to the south. Trinidad and Tobago openly welcomed U.S. military exercises, something Venezuela immediately labeled as irresponsible and provocative. But Trinidad didn't back down. They supported Washington's pressure campaign on Nicolas Maduro, signaling that they are aligning with the United States at a critical geopolitical moment. This is where the puzzle becomes dangerous. If Trinidad has chosen a side, and Venezuela sees the U.S. tightening a ring around its borders, every other Caribbean nation suddenly becomes strategically important. And Jamaica, with its size, geography, and proximity to key sea routes, stands out as a prime location for logistics, surveillance, and future operations, especially if the U.S. wants multiple options beyond Trinidad. Washington doesn't need a massive base to exert influence. Sometimes all it needs is access, landing rights, staging grounds, refueling points, and a political environment where leaders look the other way as the mission expands. Trinidad has already shown they're open for business. The real question is, will Jamaica be next? Why Venezuela changes everything. Nicolas Maduro has already mobilized his military. Venezuelan officials have warned that U.S. warships near Trinidad could signal preparation for an attack. And the Trump administration has one goal: weakening Maduro's grip on power. As tensions escalate, the Caribbean suddenly looks less like a peaceful region and more like a strategic chessboard. If the U.S. ever considers a military strike, even a limited one, it cannot rely on Trinidad alone. Weather, access, distance, and political risk all matter. And this is where Jamaica enters the conversation again. With Melissa giving the U.S. military the perfect first step onto the island, the next steps, reconnaissance flights, supply staging, intelligence sharing, can all be justified as ongoing support or partnerships. To be clear, no one is saying Jamaica is about to become a full U.S. base. But the signs are there: increased presence, deeper relationships, and a geopolitical crisis that could force Washington to expand its footprint. Jamaica may soon find itself caught between neutrality and necessity, and once a military power enters, history shows that leaving is never as simple as it seems. Will they really leave? Officially, the U.S. mission in Jamaica is temporary. The helicopters will leave. The Marines will go home. The mission will end. That's the script. But geopolitical reality is different. When a superpower establishes a new operational footprint in a region under rising tension, temporary often becomes recurring, and recurring becomes permanent enough. The US doesn't need to announce a base. All it needs is continued access, continued cooperation, and continued justification. Another storm, another relief mission, another training exercise. That is how presence becomes policy. And Jamaica's leaders may already be preparing for that future without saying it out loud. But why? Because saying it would trigger regional backlash, political pressure, and public debate. So, will the US leave? Yes, for now. But will they stay gone? That's the real question. And the answer depends not on Jamaica alone, but on the storm forming far to the south, a political hurricane named Venezuela.
I think we get the full message. Now, watch this. Let me just read this last document and bring in Melting Pot. Now, watch this to close it. I am only showing you, I am just thinking way ahead, right? And here, in terms of what I'm thinking in my head, the very same thing is playing out. Other journalists, right, international journalists are saying the very same thing that I am saying, because we are seeing the evidence and we are tracking the evidence. We are tracking the evidence. Now look on this and you will see the conclusion for yourself. Lift up the next document. Now, this is what tells you that what is happening is that the United States want to overthrow Maduro regime and put in a puppet government. The admiral realized that the propaganda being spread by Donald Trump is false. And as such, he walks. Listen to this, people. U.S. Admiral to retire amid military strikes in Caribbean and tension with Venezuela. Alvin Osley just took over the U.S. Southern Command late last year for a position that normally lasts 3 years. But watch this. Look what happened while this man walked. Amid escalating tensions with Venezuela and U.S. military strikes and suspected drug smugglers in the Caribbean, the U.S. Admiral who commands military forces in Latin America will step down at the end of this year. The U.S. Defense Secretary Petty announced on social media. Admiral Alvin Osley abrupt departure comes less than a year after he took over as head of the U.S. military's Southern Command, which oversees operations in Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. The posting typically lasts 3 years. A source told Reuters that there had been tension between the 4-star commander and exec, as well as questions about whether he would be fired in the days leading up to the announcement. The New York Times report that an annual U.S. official said that Osley had raised concerns, listen people, about the mission and the attacks on the alleged drug boats. Now watch this. In a statement shared on social media, exec did not disclose the reason for Osley's plan to retire at year's end. On behalf of the Department of War, exec said, referring to his rebrand of the department's name, we extend our deepest gratitude to Admiral Alvin Osley for his more than 37 years of distinguished service to our nation as he plans to retire at year end. What could cause this man to want to retire at year end when the post, right, was supposed to be for 3 years? The Post also noted that Osley began his career through the NROTC program at Morehouse College in 1988. Morehouse is a private historical black college in Atlanta. In a statement shared by U.S. Southern Command's X account, Osley said he planned to retire from the Navy on December 12 after a career spanning nearly 4 decades. To the 1,200 military and civilian personnel under his command, Osley said, I am confident that you will forge ahead, focus on your mission that strengthens our nation and ensures its longevity as a beacon of freedom around the globe. Keep charging, he added. The Rhode Island Senator Jack Reed, the top Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee, said Osley's unexpected departure sends an alarming signal of instability within the chain of command. Any operation to intervene military in Venezuela, especially without congressional authorization, would be unwise and dangerous. Reid said in a statement on Thursday, Admiral Osley's resignation only deepens my concern that this administration is ignoring the hard-earned lessons of previous U.S. military campaigns and the advice of our most experienced warfighters, right? So in February, Donald Trump abruptly fired the Air Force General C.Q. Brown Jr. as chair of the Joint Chief of Staff, all right, sidelining a history-making black fighter pilot and respected officer as part of campaign to purge the military of leaders who support diversity and equity in the ranks. In 2021, Osley recorded a public service announcement urging black Americans to get the COVID vaccine. So take this away. Take this away. So on the moral ground, on the moral basis, as it relates to United States striking Venezuela, right? That man with a moral compass had chosen to resign, which now sends us in terms of when we look as it relates to 3 Chinooks. Why 3 Chinooks? One Chinook, and this goes to something that I want to speak about Jamaica. Do you know that the Jamaica Defense Force supposed to have 10 helicopters? This is a deep investigation that I'm doing, and I'm leaving this piece for Tuesday morning to come out with it. Deep. Jamaica Defense Force supposed to have 10 helicopters. 10. America, as it relates to the 3 Chinooks that come here. Now, if Jamaica has 10 helicopters, I am going to show you the information. I'm not making anything up. That's why I'm leaving that for Tuesday, to take it from a Jamaica Information Service information. Right? It is the government information. 10 helicopters that they're supposed to have. If you have 10 helicopters, right, in your armory, why couldn't you use 5 of those helicopters to deal with 6 parishes that face the brunt of Hurricane Melissa? Why 3 United States Chinooks have to come in and assist you? Now, let me leave that for Tuesday when we do more deep diving. Melting Pot, come into the space. And what say you on the matter?
Well, as usual, my take on the matter is that we are seeing a game of geopolitical warfare being played out in our region. We are seeing America as, a dominant force in this regard. And we are seeing where leaders in our region has, supported such a venture. Now, we know for a fact a couple years ago, some of these American aircraft landed at the Sangsters International Airport. And, it was curious in the sense of Jamaica seen these type of air carriers landing on our tarmac without any apparent reason. It was a emergency landing exercise, as people from within the control tower outlined it to be. And so, you know, it gained the attention of curious onlookers at the time. Even myself was, wondering then why would have these American air carrier find themselves into Jamaican territory and using our airport as a landing exercise. I was wondering if they, try to test out a certain, procedure as to whether the tarmac is capable of, for their aircraft to land on and to utilize that space. But, after that, we didn't hear anything and we didn't see anything, pertaining to that level of, exercise until in recent months, yeah, where America for sure start to position themselves, yeah, from a base situated in Puerto Rico to eventually, you know, taking up residence in the Caribbean waters with various warship, some of the latest and biggest aircraft carrier are currently in the Caribbean. The newest and the biggest aircraft carrier from the United Naval Force is in the Caribbean right now. And one has to wonder then what could have caused such a, high level type of activity where warship and aircraft and helicopters are assembled in the Caribbean region. Caribbean region is known to be a very peaceful region, notwithstanding the fact that certain activity from time to time were occurring on the Caribbean Sea, but nothing of the consequence that would warrant that, you know, high level deployment of US war equipment. And so it was cause for concern. And then to be seeing the video on YouTube as it relates to vessels from Venezuela being destroyed, people losing them life. The last number I heard from my Titan brother was that over 70 people has lost their life and quite a few vessels being destroyed. But no sighting of evidence as to the circumstance for the, demolition and, loss of life that was, done by the United States Marine. I mean, we know the United States have all the capability, the modern technology to can, from anywhere identify source and content that is within any high-speed boat on the Caribbean Sea. And so, it is cause for concern and it raises several eyebrows, as to the true propensity of the exercise. We have seen where, admiral, yeah, with over 30 years experience, resigned after 1 year into his 3-year commander role, citing concern surrounding the mission as it related to what they were, told that the mission would be all about. The mission is not about drugs and confiscating drugs and those type of thing that was made publicly to us by United States. What the Admiral saw was something completely different, something that, sent a deterrent to his mental stability in continuing to be a soldier in the United States Navy force. Because, some people have a high sense of humanitarian, that, it touch them when they see act of atrocity being handed out to what you'd call seamless, people who does not deserve that type of level of atrocity. People who does not pose a risk or a threat. People who are used as a target to vindicate a propaganda that has been bandishing around as it relates to Miguel Medura being unconstituted as in terms of his, being elected. Yeah, the government of the United States has seen fit to say that he is not constitutionally recognized and that he is, playing a major role into drugs trafficking and all type of corruption. Now, I know America has the capability to, apprehend anyone anywhere by using, certain strategical way of, entering into your territory and, taking individual who is of, high profile interest to them. They like to get information rather than to destroy information. But we are not seeing that type of operation. What we are seeing playing out in front of our eyes is a, what you call now, enter from the back door. That's the type of entrance. It's not a front door appearance where you can see and recognize something, that you can say, well, it's of substance. What you are seeing is something that take you by surprise. The amount of United States military resource that is in the Caribbean region now, not just on the sea, but even in Jamaica and our land, those 3 Chinook helicopter is cause for concern. One of those Chinook helicopter, I think it carry over 10,000 ton. It have that maximum capacity. So if you send it, it's 1,000 ton.
Yes.
1,000 ton. Yeah. Thank you for correcting me, Sir Byron. Yeah. So those 3 helicopter, yeah, if it was used in that capacity because of Hurricane Melissa, you would have like 3,000 ton worth of goods, being brought into Jamaica, and maybe by now, based on the exercise duty that they were, charged to undertake in Jamaica, they would have left our shores now and gone back after 5 weeks. But apparently they are still in Jamaica. So we are asking the question. But the question, we didn't have to ask it for too long. Because not long after this exercise was, presented, then Andrew Mullis came off the fence. So then they decide, well, he's jumping off the rock and into the deep blue sea.
Here
And
you
he has
go.
a swim. And I'm sure you which way I'm heading. Yeah? I'm sure you which way I'm heading. He's not headed anywhere into the Middle East. He's heading into what? The South America region. So I'm gone
Melting
over
pot.
Trump side.
Melting pot. Sorry for the
Yeah.
the Chinook capability. Someone is correcting us as it relates to 14,000 to be exact, more but not less. So you were right, Right, my bad.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah. But nevertheless, sometimes we have to have these type of, reasoning and correction because
Of
that's
course.
what we are here for. None of us is perfect, Sir Byron. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all stand to be corrected in that regard. Yes, but
Beautiful. I love that. I love that.
we just look at thank you, sir. We just look at the whole exercise program, and we deem it as something more substantial. And the only label we can attach to it is geopolitical politics. Because remember, we always, put it out there in words and in explanation terms how critical geopolitics has become in our region because suddenly the eagle and the dragon come face to face in close proximity. When you have China operating in the Caribbean region, where China has deployed several thousand of its citizens into the Caribbean region, more so into Jamaica on a long-term basis, where these people are not just ordinary workers as you see them to be, but they are highly equipped with technology skill. So they would come and present themselves to be building contractors, but they also have certain capability that will surprise you that they are not just building contractors.
They could be soldiers
They are
too, Messenger.
soldiers.
Yeah.
They are soldiers. Yeah, they are espionage type of individual who spy. Their capability is of such that US has become very traumatized of the whole idea of having China in our backyard. Taking up resident right on dime nose. And so when we sit in the hot seat, me and my brother, them have one Andrew Wellness, have this close contact collaboration as it relates to Jamaica now, shifting and centering all of its international infrastructure being submitted to China and having Chinese worker within our space. It's a major cause for concern where Donald Trump is concerned. That ruffles him feathers. And so Donald Trump has decided, well, the time is here and now to start get ready for the eventuality of any war that China want to bring to United States by whether means of soft war or cold war. But any one of the war, America ready. So what Donald Trump has done now is strategically make sure no he's on the front foot and he won't be caught off guard. Because there is a certain infrastructure that was created in Jamaica that America categorically tell the rest of the world do not have any form of participation within that building. And that is the Foreign Affairs building that was built downtown, down by Ocean Mall, by the Chinese. Now, that is a major problem. And that building has now become a waste of an investment because it is not being utilized, in the way that it was built to be utilized. The uses of it, I don't know what they're doing with it currently, but no foreign leaders will enter into that building to have a seminar or whatever. They won't just go in there because that building has been built with sophisticated device to record every conversation, yeah, that took place in that building. So when you have a government that doesn't understand geographical terms and how it can play to your advantage or your disadvantage, then you know you don't have a government who is, in tune with what is happening in the world. And I say this in regards to the new development as it relates to world currency. Now we all know that most of the countries in the world trade using the US currency. We know most countries, especially third world country and developing country, source their economical, finance as it relates to borrowing from IMF and World Bank. And the currency that would be an offer would be the United States currency. Now China, yeah, and this is where, the soft war start to play itself and show itself. Now we all know that China did have the largest economy, earlier on in the century, Yeah, China did have the biggest economy. America has dethroned them from the top position and has held that position till currently. But China is hell bent on, regaining its status quo. And so, in terms of world trade and power and world supremacy in trading, a Cold War, I go on with them this. I mean, a soft war, I go on with them in that regard. Yeah, we see Donald Trump introduce high tariff measures on Chinese goods coming into America. And we see the same thing vice versa, Chinese do the same thing. Yeah. And I tell you, all that is down to the new currency that China want to introduce to the world, which is known as the BRICS. And so when Venezuela sign up for that commodity, I mean, that ruffled Donald Trump and the United States further. I remember Venezuela is a part of the American, it's a South American country. And for a South America country, yeah, join force with the 5 major countries who head this BRICS organization. You have Brazil, South Africa, you have India, you have China, and where the other one name again, Byron?
You have BRICS, you have
Brazil, South Africa, China, India, and one more.
Hold on there. And so you call South Africa?
Yeah, China, India, Brazil.
BRICS, Russia.
Russia. Right. And then now, you have places like, Venezuela and Cuba. Say, yes, we are going to sign up for this currency. Use it as the currency we trade with. And we see what happened to the Cuban doctors them that were in Jamaica. And we hear, the reason behind it. Rubio came to Jamaica with a message directly from the White House, telling Jamaican, heads of official, and I mean we are talking about the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health, that should get rid of the Cuban medical personnel them. And that happened swiftly. And America, I can remember vividly, their reason is saying that by having these Cuban medical personnel working all around the world, what it does is that it gives them access to foreign resource, foreign exchange. Well, him call on places like Barbados push back on him with that. Barbados categorically let him know that, well, they need the Cuban doctors to be a part of their medical, you know, communities. And they pay them just like what they pay their medical staff. Then it's not like they're paying them more. Yeah. Other country as well push back, but Jamaica could not. Simply because we have a corrupted leader who is very much compromised and who has become a bargaining chip and a bargaining tool for the United States of America. So what we have currently now, yeah, when you hear Andrew Holness come out and say, we always maintain that the Caribbean is a zone of peace, and anything that challenge that will affect tourism. You hear him not say people life, you know.
Exactly. Exactly, Pat.
No, if the Caribbean region is a zone of peace, then what is the opposite to peace? It must be war. So if peace is been, challenging certain quarters, or it look like it's going to be, in a state of where you have war now become the objectivity rather than peace, then must have think about life. You can't think about tourism. You must have think about the people who live in the Caribbean, Not the people who have visit as tourists, them not must come. Them have alternative choice. They can come or they don't come. And nobody now going to war zone, go holiday. So we are looking here, Andrew Willis talk about the people who reside in the Caribbean and, making reference that we don't want any war. We want our region to remain a zone of peace. But him say, anything that challenge that, you know, will affect tourism in our region and his full support against drugs trafficking or traffickers in our region. Him give him full support against drug traffickers in the region. But remember, Andrew have some close allies who do participate in the same trafficking department.
All right.
I remember we had some major drugs fine, and we never hear the man even cough and say, eh. But now the guy has support war against drug traffickers in the region. So what about war against drug traffickers who traffic drugs into Jamaica?
Yeah, but Melting Pot, remember say, but Bunting show you say him look against corruption.
We know that, but we know a reverse psychology in play with corruption. When him lick out pan it, him embrace it, him sleep with it, him hug it, him love it. You understand? So you hear me I go with him now, Sir Byron. Cause after him say all of this, him paint a picture, where it coming like when me a boy, me a go Majesty get out a Greenwich Farm, I'm going upstairs to get a comfortable view. Yeah? I don't know if a John Wayne Rye kid or Bill the Kid me or what, but one of them Western show. Them type of thing I see Andrew play with Jamaica people right now. You ever catch Andrew off there now? Because I'm going to ask Andrew Holness. Yeah, can get a report, on the recent confiscation of the $3.7 billion worth of drugs, cocaine. Yeah? That them, intercept somewhere around pan Morantale like that. Or the Caribbean Sea. But me want and him say destined for what? Him say destined for Canada.
No. You never spoke where it destined from. I think he said it left from Colombia or something like
Colombia, right. Yeah. Him say it left from Colombia. Alright. Now we know America have the most sophisticated surveillance camera up there, so watch over the whole region, especially when them have them, equipment and personnel in the region. Them I watch the region like use a narrative and I go and use it back again. I know no Jamaican have been seeing the damage a Hurricane Melissa would have ever venture into the pathway at the eye of the hurricane. Having experienced what the hurricane did and how powerful and how lethal it can be. They're now going to the eye region there, the pathway where it passed through them parish where it badly damaged. So since this war upon drugs in the region, I know everybody must see the amount of vessel where America mash up and how much people dead. They think anybody are going to take to the sea with drugs in a vessel? Nobody now do that. The risk, yeah, I got outweigh the reward. So nobody now attempt that based on what we know are going. So when Andrew Wallace come play a demo tape, yeah, what Andrew Wallace are doing now is support a system of corruption, supporting lies, supporting propaganda, supporting false information, misinformation, and disinformation, and embracing America, regardless of what America is doing. And you can't stand up to America like a Myanmar. Can't, because I'm not clean. Yeah? When you give up your sovereignty rights and trade it for corruption, because it right when give up, to rule Jamaica, him has to, because him involved in a corruption. So him have to trade that, yeah, to save himself from Uncle Sam. Because if him ever push back for Uncle Sam, them pick him up like how them pick up the dust with ease. And then pick up some more cronies them. But them know about from long time. Guy like Vaz, James Robertson, and Sleepy Joe Crab. Them gone with them, the Agintai, them gone with them. Because them know about them. So what Andrew I don't know, Andrew is providing a canvas both for himself and him cronies them by, endorsing everything where United States and Donald Trump are going in the region. Support them. I remember Jamaica, one of the largest English-speaking Caribbean countries. That's the language where America speak. Them not speak Spanish. Them speak English. So the communication will always be there because it's a language that translates between both countries. Yeah, so it can be easily, relate to and understand. You understand? So we know primarily Andrew Holness has sold Jamaican down the drain. And right now Jamaica have to prepare for the eventuality of war in the region and Jamaica becoming a base for America aircraft. Jamaica gonna have to prepare because when you have a guy who like to dibble dabble in a corruption and get himself mixed up, it's not different from when you have a young man in your community and him go cross problem over the next community and the next community carry out a reprisal and innocent people lose them life. And that's how I say Andrea carry the country go. You understand? Right? That's so. And it might sound funny, but that's true. Because when we come and we talk to people, I think that we dissect and I look for a long time and I just know we have viewed this, a long time before even the activity with Donald Trump, yeah, I go out in the region. We are talking about this geopolitics in our backyard. You cannot have China and America so close. The proximity spell danger. The proximity spell danger.
True.
Who is harboring China in the region? Which country harboring China in the region? Jamaica. Jamaica have the most Chinese people in the region And I'm saying to my Jamaican people listening to us tonight, these people are capable of more than what they are showing you. America know about it. They are multi-skilled people, but they will pick the garbage. And you think they are just garbage collectors? No. They have so much to offer the government of China. They have so much work that they can do by the government of China that is unbelievable. Well, America, wise to the cause. Yeah, because America not stupid. They know the capability of them closest enemy, so to speak, in a world affair. Yeah. And so if you notice, you have all the threat relating to Hawaii and all them place there between the same two countries. You have several other war where both of them participate in. Because even the war in Ukraine, China is in full support of Russia. They even send, personnel to help. South Korea participate in it as well. Them send all personnel down there. India as well. Good. But America play a hanky-panky game with Ukraine by offering Ukraine certain assistance that doesn't measure up to, giving them the assistance where them truly need. And the assistance where America offer Ukraine is to get Ukraine mineral, them rare earth mineral.
Yeah. Melting pot. Melting pot. Let me stimulate you a bit as it relates to what is really developing here. If United States hell-bent, right, on attacking Venezuela, one of Vladimir Putin correspondence, right, to the United States is that if they do attack Venezuela, right, they might engage in the war. China likely to support Russia.
Exactly.
Well, this can
and Russia support China, and Korea come in same way. Because remember, China and Russia are the conglomerate in the BRICS development. And remember, Venezuela sign up to them, so Venezuela becomes an ally to them. China and Russia, that's the me that come. That's why I bring it round. Painting and drawing the demographic of all the country them, I work with them one another who they on full side. So and that's why
also Jamaica can become a battleground.
Jamaica can become a battleground because if Russia come and China come to the defense of Venezuela in an all-out war, then America will have him troop in Jamaica, The Chinese them have to run and left Jamaica too. And then it's a full-scale operation in our region because we have a guy who like to play dandy shandy and hopscotch, Jackson, bunks and all type of thing. But him not depend on no team. Him just come and always say my boaty. That's how Andrew Wallace always do. That's why when him tell us him depend on the fence. Well, me they tell him to come off of the rock and jump to the deep blue sea. Because I know him not have no alternative. Him don't have any alternative.
He can't go against the US. Can't.
Him cannot go against the US. Right? So him finally come off of the rock and him finally reveal the joker where him have it. Time of the joker in the pack,
Finally play his hands.
Him play, man.
We should tell him.
And so,
we should call it out, Melting Pot.
Then we have to call it out, Sir Byron. We have to call it out, Right now, Andrew don't even know the predicament we're up against, Him feel like, so well then, sometime, if you are both on both sides, one of the captain turn against you, kind of feel like you should have support him, kind of get things, No, me know China feels that Jamaica supposed to support them because them are building infrastructure. America say, hell no! Jamaica operate on our policy of CIA. Love that China. And the reason why we allow you to build Jamaica infrastructure are true. We don't want to lend them the money because the government a chopper, even though we work with the policy, we know him is a chopper. So we allow you to finance them deal. Why you laugh, Byron?
No, well, the way how you say it, it sounds like a joke, but it's no joke,
And I'm not talk joke on the program, Byron. That's why I'm telling people them sometimes I talk it sound funny, but that's truth.
Exactly. So, we just want to make them know that. So, what you said, right? Although it's humorous in one sense, but really and truly it's reality. Because they know that Andrew Holness, right? They have all of the stops on him melting pot. So you're perfectly right in terms of what you're saying. They have all of the stops. And that's one of the reasons why you know that him have to now surrender himself as the puppet as he is. Because under no circumstances he can go against United States. Dealing with the likes like Donald Trump. No, Donald Trump will just flush out all of the cards.
You're mad. Him can never even try. Him have to just hope and pray. What Andrew have to do, is hope and pray, say, before Donald Trump leave office, him not get mad and turn the wrath of Donald Trump on him. Them out of Jamaica and them cronies, them like how them take out the dust. You don't know him a count down Donald Trump days, because I say, well, I can't survive on another president, especially if I Kamala Harris. But me know if Donald Trump ever one day wake up on him wrong side and decide, say, me pop up in him status quo as a traitor, he may come for me. So what Andrew do? Andrew play Mr. Nice Guy. And him have to. Him have to be that Mr. Nice Guy for Donald Trump. That's why Donald Trump can't send message go give him via Rubio,
Exactly.
Donald Trump they never come himself, him just send the messenger Rubio.
Because what's no part. If you remember the situation with Dudos, remember that the United States could send for Dudos during PNP leadership, PNP government, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They wait until the government change, and then they send for Dudos. You understand? Under Bruce Golden led government. You see that? And so then Dudos have to go. Right? Because United States, you understand, totally as it relates to the memorandum between United States and United States and Jamaica, as it relates to transnational drugs crime and drugs trafficking and all of that. But again,
extradition agreement.
Exactly. So United States did not put the pressure under the People's National Party governance. As the Jamaica Labour Party governance, you understand, take over power. What United States did. Send for those right under Bruce Golden government.
Yeah.
Because they know what they have done. You understand? Because again, as it relates to Dudos fund Bruce Golden campaign as a result of drugs. So United States have that. Let them know what Andrew has done.
I remember Byron.
Yes.
The drugs is being, connected to one of the viciousest gang ever operated in America. Shower Passy.
So
you understand?
Yes, so that extradition treaty, I think the extradition treaty was signed between the People's National Party government and United States. I think it is signed under PJ Patterson.
Under PJ
if my memory serves me right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Martin, but sorry.
And I mean, you just draw down the curtain from the whole, where they call now stage.
Yes.
Because we're about to close the show. But when you touch it, they say, as to when the treaty was signed. Treaty was signed under the People's National Party administration led by Sir Percival James Patterson.
Yes.
but never been
Executed.
activated.
Yes.
Never been, I mean, never say executed. Them never activated. Them not touch it, them just sign it and leave it there.
Yes.
But when them activate it, when, you know, Bruce Colin come in, them say, all right, we press that button there.
Yes.
And it activate and them carry out them execution and them pick up, you know, people of interest. You understand? Now, we know why them do that too. Because sometimes you have to look on certain things, how it play out, and know strategically. We send a message so you can understand, say, we are this type of, you know, client we are dealing with. It's the same like how we come pick up the dust. We
Yes.
better than Uno. You know, we pick Uno up in the car, Uno bad like the dust, you know. Uno has sprat when it comes to the dust. So we are showing so we can come for the dust. That means Uno know so at any time we can come for Uno. So you Uno do no criminal government. Make sure Uno give you what we want when we ask for it.
Same so.
So this is how them use Andrew Holness as a bargaining chip and a bargaining tool.
He becomes
because
a bargaining
Andrew
chip.
is not more than a fool.
Yeah.
Fool to be in charge of a country. That's why I tell him, and I will tell him again, Andrew Holness, you are and you were not Prime Minister material from day one. And you do not surplus the requirement for the Jamaican people anymore. Leave our beloved country alone. Because what you are doing to Jamaica, you know, you have beat up Jamaica amongst your two friend them, your two hypocritical friend them, China and US. You understand? Because none of them country don't mean Jamaica good no matter what you hear anybody are saying. None of them don't mean Jamaica any good. None. China only reason for coming at Jamaica space is to carry out them activity that is a part of them agenda. And to make money and to provide job for people who reside in the world largest population society. No, you can't imagine a little country like Jamaica pick up China slack in our employment. Remember China not job for all of them people, you know. The 1.8 billion people we have, you know. Him not job for them. We see India do the same thing. Because India have 1.8 billion people too. And them people in Jamaica enough. I seek employment. What can go so? But it is happening for sure in Jamaica. And so I look at Andrew Holness as an intrepid person. Yeah? A person who love to puff him chest and up himself and speak like him a renegade, but him timid. Very intrepid. You understand? I have to bow him tremble when them big boy that talk to him, man. Uncle Jamaican people, you see him loud up him mouth and go on like him at this, you know, demon of a individual. But we know Andrew a piece of shit. We know Andrew weak, him pathetic, and him not have no backbone. Me and Matt, they put him to shame and scorn him. And I yield back the floor, my brother.
All right. Melting pot, trust me, wonderful delivery. As always, right? We don't expect nothing less from the melting pot, right? Now, we are coming to the close, right, ladies and gentlemen. We want to say, you know, again, wonderful thank you, right, to for the strong support that you are giving Mystic Sensation, right? We really appreciate that, right? And we are saying just continue, right, to stay tuned, that when we come out, you know that we come out with facts, right? And of course, right, I will say to you that, you know, we are not going to know everything, right? And over here, right, in terms of we dialoguing, right, and interacting, right, at the end of the day, we want that the information that we are disseminating, right, it becomes very much beneficial, right, to all of us, right, and where, you know, we can just build that level of awareness in terms of, you know, moving forward. But
in end, I will say, right, that I do believe that we as a society, we are very much resilient and we are going to bounce back, right? We have been there, we have done that. We have gone through 400 years of slavery that did not, right, hamper us, right? We move forward from that. And if slavery did not hamper us, there's nothing that anyone can do, right, can hamper us. All we need to do, and let me tell you what we need to do, is to unite as a people. Whenever we unite as a people, that's it. There's no power, no strength greater than us when we are united. And that is what we need to do, united for one common cause. That what we are fighting for our children. We are fighting for the generation to come, right? And to know that, okay, when we pass and gone, they can say that their ancestors have done them well. We did not sell them out to crony capitalists. We must, that's why Michael Manley said, of course, we have to study to show ourselves approved. And that's what Michael Manley had done. He has no apology, right? To alter the balance between the rich and the poor. And he has no apology for that. Democratic socialism, right? Where we deal with fairness, right? And where the equity of the wealth spread equally. Mystic Sensation, to you all, one love. Melting pot. Bless up yourself.
Blessings.
All right. Yes, people, I'm out. Okay. All right, people. See you again Tuesday. And remember, Rattigan, tune in to Rattigan tomorrow. Right? And remember, Lonesome, right, tomorrow as well. Right? Tune in and support on other platforms out there. Right? Tune in. Keep abreast. Right? With the information.
I remember Sunday night, City Hall as usual. Yeah, where we stand tall, never fall. City Hall, Sunday night, people tune in.
360 degrees, man. Tight and round the clock. Bless up. All right. Love your people. I'm out.
I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.